Strange as it may seem, tonight is the Blue Jays' home opener, and that's why their top prospect, Nate Pearson, is wearing the home whites. He makes his long-awaited debut tonight. To set the scene for us, let's take you to the men who'll call this game. Dan Shulman is with Buck Martinez.
Jamie, tonight is a night that Blue Jay fans, needless to say, have been waiting for a long time. Tonight, we get to see Nate Pearson's Major League debut.
Yeah, it's a special night for Nate Pearson and a special night for the Blue Jays organization. Nate got a little bit of a dress rehearsal last week at Fenway Park, pitching in a big league ballpark against a big league lineup, and he really settled down after a rocky first inning. Back in spring training, we saw a taste of what Nate Pearson might be. He has a great changeup. He gets Josh Bell on a high slider, and the biggest thing about Nate is we heard about the velocity before, but he's got all the pitches, and he's a polished starter. This is going to be a big night for the Blue Jays.
Said he was a little bit nervous at Fenway Park. Spent a little time yesterday on the mound at Nationals Park doing some visualizing. Hopefully the jitters behind him, because this one is for real. Back to you.
Dan, he's up immediately because the Blue Jays are the home team. So get set. One more quick break, and then Pearson takes the mound in a big league game on Sportsnet.
Best pitching prospects in baseball will make his Major League debut tonight in Washington in what is technically the Blue Jays home opener tonight at Nationals Park. That's why you see the white jerseys for the Blue Jays. But that aside, Nate Pearson will take a Major League mound in a regular season game for the first time, Buck. There are going to be a lot of eyes on him tonight.
Boy, for sure, and he's a young man with a lot of upside. He was drafted in 2017, 28th pick overall. And he's got all the attributes you want in a starting pitcher. He's got size, he's got poise, he's a very smart kid, a very humble kid. But he understands that his gift is pretty special. And he takes great care of it. He works very hard. And last year, he pitched at 3 different levels and dominated each one of those 3 levels.
Give us kind of a rundown on what he throws, what are his best pitches? What is he working on? What should people look for tonight?
Right now, there's no question his best pitch is his fastball. He's hit 100 miles an hour with his fastball. His second best pitch is his changeup. And then he's got a slider and occasional curveball. But in Boston, he had trouble with his fastball in the first inning, and they touched him up for 4 runs. But he made the adjustment and pitched very well. I'm anxious to see him pitch here tonight.
Nate Pearson will turn 24 next month. Basically lost a year after taking a line drive off his forearm a couple of years ago in his first start down in A-ball. Last year spent a little time with Dunedin, most of the year at AA New Hampshire, made 3 starts late in the season at AAA Buffalo. And we all knew it was only a matter of time until he made his Major League debut. It was just a question of when that would be. Those are his combined numbers. Everybody talks about the velocity, and yes, as you know, or you may know, he has touched as high as 104 miles per hour. That was in an Arizona Fall League game. Don't expect him to throw 104 tonight. Don't expect him to average 102. I think for fastball, 96 to 98, 96 to 99. Is that average range for his fastball?
Yeah, I think so. I think if he does that, I think more than anything, he's going to be concerned about his mechanics, and he's going to try to make sure he pitches ahead. You know, obviously, Nationals haven't seen him before. They don't know anything about him. So if I'm Danny Jansen, I call a fastball, sit in the middle of the plate, and just turn it loose. Yep. You know, the interesting thing about Nate Pearson, we've heard about him for so long. He's only had 123 in the 3rd innings of minor league experience. And he signed in 2017 and signed after his 2nd year in college. First year he spent at Florida International University. 2nd year he went to a community college and pitched very well. And he is a power pitcher, and he's got, like I said, he's got all the attributes. He's got size, he has poise, he's got all the pitches, and his heart is pounding just a little bit tonight here in Washington.
Now look at the lineup that he will face tonight for the Washington Nationals. The starting lineup is brought to you by TD, proud fan and official bank of the Toronto Blue Jays. Again, a veteran-laden group for the Nationals, guys who have been around a long time, with the exception of Carter Kieboom, arguably Washington's top prospect, a natural shortstop, but with Trey Turner there, and Anthony Rondon, not Kieboom now, a 3rd baseman. Here we go. And a first pitch fastball catches the inside corner for a strike, and right away Danny Jansen throws that ball out of play.
Just in case special things happen down the road.
Pearson threw 63 pitches in his tune-up start Tuesday night at Fenway Park, the exhibition game. So maybe expect 70 to 75, somewhere in that range from him tonight. I would imagine the Nationals have seen a little bit of video that they would be able to find some minor league video, but it's a different situation, of course, when you step in there for the first time.
Especially at 6 o'clock. Look at the shadows.
Yeah.
There's a good breaking ball right there. The hard slider at 86 miles an hour. Tough time of the night to hit. You can see the sunshine on the dirt of the infield. The mound is in the shadows, and there's a streak of sunshine in between. That's tough for hitters, man.
Notice Pearson pitches from the stretch all the time. Another good breaking ball, and he strikes out the first batter he faces in the big leagues.
And a heck of a big league hitter in Trey Turner. He hit 298 last year, and he threw him a couple of very good sliders. And you can see right down the middle, but it had enough of a downward tilt that Turner can't make contact. You hear so much about that big arm with the fastball, and that was a very well thrown slider.
Yeah. The God-given ability he has allows him to throw the fastball, but he is not just a thrower. He has worked extremely hard on his secondary pitches, and he throws slider, changeup, and curveball. Here's Adam Eaton. In terms of pitching from the stretch, Pete Walker believes it just allows him to repeat his delivery better. It allows his mechanics to be tighter and gives him better command. Up and away, 2-0.
Yeah, and there's a trend around baseball to really shorten your arm swing, and you can do that very effectively and efficiently out of the stretch. And Pearson gets his arm in a good spot very quickly.
His walk numbers have been good in the minor leagues. As Buck mentioned, he actually hasn't pitched a whole lot. 123 1/3 innings in the minor leagues is all, but walked 32 in those 123 1/3, struck out 146. And way up and away for ball 4 there.
Well, let's take a look at the defense behind Nate Pearson in the outfield. Gurriel is in left, Fisher is in right. Teoscar Hernandez is filling in center field, and he played a lot of center field last year. He's primarily a corner outfielder. He's going to play right field most of the year. Santiago Espinal and Biggio up the middle, but Teoscar making sure he checks out the defensive alignment sheet, and he will help Fisher a little bit. And you can see him tell Derek Fisher, I'm going to shade a little bit to the alley in left center for Asdrubal Cabrera.
Switch hitter batting from the left side against the right-hander Pearson. 1 on, 1 out in the top of the first. And Cabrera goes around at a breaking ball, 0-1.
That was a good call by Danny Jansen after he walked Eaton, missing with that fastball. He starts off Cabrera with a breaking ball. When you call a breaking ball, the pitcher normally thinks about slowing down a little bit and getting a good release point, getting out in front. He threw a good slider there.
Big lead by Eaton, and he's going. He got a huge jump, and no chance there for Jansen.
First stolen base of the season for Adam Eaton. And you can see he jumped out there about 15 feet, stopped, and then he got a great jump. Jansen, that's all you can do right there. Just try to backhand the short hop. You can see he took one big leap and then sat there, and Pearson never looked him back.
Again, a veteran team, and maybe they'll try to exploit little holes in the game of the rookie that they think might be there. Fastball and foul to back, 1-2 on Cabrera.
Well, they're going to try to win a game. They've gotten off to a bad start, and they haven't looked good in the field. They've booted it around. They haven't come up with many clutch hits, and they need to win a game. So they're going to do whatever they think is necessary tonight to turn things around.
Still no Juan Soto in the Nationals lineup. He has passed the MLB protocols. He now needs to get approval from the District of Columbia Department of Health before he'll be allowed to play. Could happen on the weekend. There's stringent rules in D.C. Fastball at 96 fouled off. Nate Pearson, by the way, came to the Blue Jays, as Buck mentioned, first round pick, 28th overall, 2017. It was a compensation pick that the Blue Jays received after Edwin Encarnacion signed as a free agent with Cleveland. Blue Jays were awarded a draft pick. This is the result.
They did a pretty good job of utilizing that draft pick, I would say.
A look back at Eaton. And a breaking ball grounded weakly towards first. Guerrero has it. He'll make the play, 2 down, runner to third.
Yeah, of course, Danny Jansen's going to take charge of this game tonight, and he has used that slider very well. Got ahead of Cabrera with the slider and then gets him to tap weakly to first base. So I think that'll help Nate get into the flow of the game a little bit, and that'll calm him down and keep him back a little bit, and then that fastball will be more consistent.
We haven't seen his changeup yet, and that's a pitch that he likes. He uses it fairly frequently against left-handed batters. He's got one here in Eric Thames. Fastball up high.
Yeah, his timing is still off with his fastball. His body's a little bit ahead of his arm. He'll get that straightened out. This is not unlike what happened to him in Boston. Pitching in a big league ballpark for the first time. He was just off with his mechanics, just a touch.
Fastball drilled in there, 1-1.
You see how much more patient he was on that fastball. And it jumped up to 96 because timing was a little bit better.
Panic alone on the left side of the infield. A big hole where the shortstop would normally be as they play Thames to pull. Fastball again and fouled it back, 1-2. So tonight so far kind of 94 to 96, which is the low end of his range. Again, don't expect him to be consistently triple digits, but we have seen higher than this from Nate Pearson.
Yeah, and Nate understands that if you're going to be successful, you've got to master at least 3 pitches to pitch in the big leagues.
Breaking ball line to left center field, and it'll be caught. Gurriel into the alley to bring it in. And Pearson emerges unscathed in his first regular season inning in the big leagues. Panic in the Blue Jay dugout. Runner got as far as third, but he got out of it. Struck out the first batter that he faced. And here's the lineup that Charlie Montoyo puts out there tonight. Still no Bichette, no Grichuk, no Shaw. Teoscar Hernandez back in the leadoff spot again, and he's off to a really good start so far this year. Some quality at bats, driving in runs, getting on base at a decent clip, just having some good solid at bats. Joe Panic is at third base tonight, and another start at shortstop for Santiago Espinal.
Espinal got his first big league hit last night. Boy, what a difference in experience. 357 career starts for Max Scherzer tonight. Nate Pearson made his first big league start. Scherzer has won 3 Cy Young Awards, 2013, 2016, and 2017. A terrific competitor and a guy that absolutely loves to play baseball.
First pitch to the bottom of the first. Look out, 95 and up and in to Hernandez for ball 1. 2 no-hitters, a 20 strikeout game, 3 Cy Youngs, 170 and 90 in his career, a World Series championship last year. And as Buck mentioned, one of the game's great competitors. He is probably annoyed beyond belief that the DH is in the National League this year. Not that he's the greatest hitter in the world amongst pitchers, but he loves to hit, loves to run the bases. Buck said he just loves to play baseball.
He loves to play baseball. He is a complete pitcher. He's got all the pitches. He comes at you. He's a great athlete. And the Blue Jays know they have their hands full tonight.
Gave up 4 runs in 5 1/3 against the Yankees on opening day. Struck out 11. Big fastball, great slider, cutter, changeup, curveball, and very good career numbers against the Blue Jays. He won 1 of those Cy Youngs with the Tigers, won the other 2 with the Nationals. Two. Just a little bit low. Close take there by Teoscar.
Scherzer wanted it. He threw that fastball just off the plate down and away at 96. Scherzer's now 36 years old, and he can still rush up that fastball.
And he walked him.
Time now to take a look at the defense behind Max Scherzer. The defense is brought to you by TD, proud fan and official bank of the Toronto Blue Jays. And over at third base, for the past 7 years, it was Anthony Rendon, and now it's going to be Carter Kieboom. 22-year-old third baseman. He's got a tremendous upside. He got a lot of power. He's going to have a chance to play regularly over at third, and they're just kind of easing him into the season. Asdrubal Cabrera has played over there for the most part so far in the early going.
Here's Cavan Biggio with the leadoff man aboard, and he'll take a borderline pitch outside for ball one. Biggio's got the only home run for the Blue Jays this year that isn't a solo shot. They've hit 8, 7 of them solo shots. Biggio had a 3-run homer on opening day. Blue Jays have hit 6 homers in the last 2 games. That one's pulled foul. Interesting, the umpiring crew is the same crew the Blue Jays saw down in Tampa Bay. Now, because this technically is not the same series as the last 2 games against Washington.
Right.
These 2 games were originally supposed to be in Toronto, of course, so the umpiring crew is different than the last couple of days, so it's the Joe West crew again. Stu Sherwater's got the plate. West at first, Wendelstedt at second, and Carapaza at third. I should never ask a question on national TV I don't know the answer to, but I don't know if the umpiring crews, like if you're in the East, are you just staying in the East with the same 10 teams to limit travel? And if that's the case, the same teams are going to see the same umpires a lot this year.
And mind you, it's just 60 games, so that's really not that big of a concern. And, you know, we have heard that on certain occasions the umpires are going to fly on team charters.
Right.
So it's probably true that they're going to stay in that region so they don't have to go cross country. They're taking the same precautions with the umpires as they are with the players.
Vladimir Guerrero getting ready for his at bat. No score, bottom of the first in Nate Pearson's debut. Blue Jays have the leadoff man aboard. Nice play to second one and back to first. Double play started very nicely by Eric Thames.
Good job by Thames as he gloved it, and then he knew he had plenty of time, so he makes a strong, accurate throw to second base as the shortstop was on the first base side of the bag, and Trey Turner had plenty of time to get there, and Biggio hit it hard but right to the first baseman. See how patient Thames is, and then the return throw in plenty of time. This has not been a good start for the Nationals defense. They've been charged with 7 errors in 5 games.
0-1 on Lourdes Gurriel. Gurriel's had a hit in each of the 4 games in which he's played this year, 4 for 14, including a home run.
Yeah, he had a pinch hit single in a game he didn't start against the Rays down in St. Pete. Well, he's swinging the bat well.
Shift on with 3 well onto the left side of the infield. And it looks like for the next little while, if you're the first baseman, second baseman, or right fielder, you got some sun to deal with in Washington.
Well, and as a hitter, too, it's really a challenging time of the night with a guy like Scherzer on the mound, Pearson, for that matter, making his debut. Both throw hard, both have nasty breaking balls, and it's just tough to pick up the baseball right now.
Scherzer's one of these guys where the younger pitchers hang around and say, hey, can I do your workout with you tomorrow and see how that goes? And halfway through, they're like, I'm out.
They can't keep up.
Yeah.
Even at his advanced age 36, he's just in great shape, takes great care of himself. And we mentioned what a competitor is. He was scratched from his start in Game 5 of the World Series because he couldn't turn his neck. He had a stiff neck. But he got treatment, came back, and gave them a good start in Game 7.
And battled his way through 5 innings, gave up a couple of runs as the Nationals beat the Astros that night. Good slider down and away to get Gurriel and end the inning. End of 1 in the Blue Jays home opener in Washington, and Nate Pearson heading back to the mound. Here's some objective opinions on him. This is MLB Pipeline, which has Pearson as the 8th ranked prospect in all of baseball. And only 2 of the 7 in front of him are pitchers. in Gore and Mize. So, you know, when you're 6'6", 250, can throw triple digits, put up great numbers, you're going to get people's attention. He was ranked in the top 100 before last year, after the year when he took the line drive off his arm, broke his bone in his forearm, barely pitched. He was still a top 100 guy, had a great year last year, moved into the top 10 on just about every scouting service.
Yeah, and he's had some exposure. Futures game, got a chance to pitch there, pitched in the Arizona Fall League, so people are starting to obviously recognize his talents, and I expect this to be a much better inning because he's got the jitters out of the way, he's got the adrenaline calmed down a little bit. I think he's going to throw more fastballs down in the zone and pitch ahead. That last pitch was a beauty.
Gave up 4 runs in the first inning in the exhibition game in Boston, and then really settled down after that. Wound up going 3 2/3, struck out the last 3 batters he faced, and threw 63 pitches. In the first inning tonight, if you missed it, he struck out the first batter, Trey Turner, walked Adam Eaton as Drupal Cabrera grounded out, and then Eric Thames lined out hard to left field, but Gurriel made a catch in the alley to prevent the run from scoring. Suzuki gets on top of an 0-2 fastball, ground ball to third, and Joe Panik, making his first big league start at third base, makes the play.
Well, you look at the Blue Jays' top prospects, and Nate Pearson's at the head of the pack, 23 years old, and he is really a legitimate top starting prospect. Austin Martin was just drafted this year, and he's already moved up to 2. Simeon Woods Richardson was one of the pitchers they acquired from the Mets, but things are starting to really look up for the Blue Jays as far as developing prospects. And that's when you become a serious contending team, when you're starting to bring up big league players from your own system.
The other 3 on that list that we just saw, Martin, Woods Richardson, and Groshans, are all at the alternate player site for the Blue Jays, which is now in Rochester. I think they had a workout in Buffalo yesterday and then took a bus to Rochester, and they will spend their time in Rochester because the Blue Jays are going to Buffalo. Otherwise, the alternate player pool would have been in Buffalo. So that's if the Blue Jays need to get any players, if anybody gets hurt, if there are any positive tests, if they lose anybody off the roster. And by the way, the roster move to get Pearson on was Brian Moran, the left-handed reliever. Has been optioned out, but he's on the taxi squad right now, that 3-player group that can go with the team in case there are any issues. Starlin Castro.
99 upstairs. And Pearson, the ground ball off the bat of Suzuki was a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. That, you know, that's when you want to reach back for a little extra, when you have 2 strikes on a hitter. He threw Suzuki a couple of breaking balls and then finished him off with that good fastball.
Ground ball to short. Up with it, Espinal. And they get him by a step. 2 down. And just a little funny thing, you can hear the piped-in noise at the ballpark tonight because it's the Blue Jays home opener. The piped-in noise will be cheering for the Blue Jays. So when good things happen for the Blue Jays, you'll get cheers. They're going to be anti-nationals in their own home ballpark tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and they've done a good job of that around baseball, trying to recreate as close as possible the atmosphere without any fans.
There's Carter Kieboom. So we have the 28th overall pick in 2017 on the mound and the 28th overall pick in 2016 at the plate. Kieboom out of Marietta, Georgia. Got a little bit of time with the Nationals last year, 39 at bats, hit just 128. And I mean, he's happy to be in the big leagues, but kind of unfair to him to refer to him as, you know, the guy taking over for Anthony Rendon, the guy replacing Anthony Rendon. But they have a need with Rendon now with the Angels, and Kieboom is the guy. Rendon homering in his Angels debut last night.
Well, that's a good sign right there. You know, you hear so much about Pearson and his fastball, but a 2-0 slider for a strike to get him back into the at-bat.
Doesn't shake, just keeps looking in. Ooh, looked pretty good, but called outside, ball 3. Doesn't shake, doesn't nod, just keeps looking in, and when he gets the one he wants, he comes set.
Yeah, that's what pitchers are referred to as staring off a sign. They just keep looking for a sign until they see the one they want.
Swing and a miss, 3-2. One year at Florida International, a couple of years at a junior college. The College of Central Florida is where the Blue Jays got him from. Got him. Blew it by him at 96. And a 3-up, 3-down second inning for Nate Pearson. The mound for the Nationals tonight is probably a surefire future Hall of Famer. 3 Cy Youngs, and even in the last four times he has not won the Cy Young, he has finished in the top 5. He has been one of the best pitchers in baseball over the last decade or so, and is still going strong.
What a great pitcher and a great competitor, and you see he seems to be getting better and better with age. Yes, we saw him. I saw him firsthand with the Tigers. He started out with the Arizona Diamondbacks, but what a career he has had.
36-year-old pitcher facing a 21-year-old hitter in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Glad he hit his first home run of the season last night. Off the glove of Victor Robles over the fence in left center.
Yeah, that was a good sign for the Blue Jays to get that first home run out of the way. Been a long drought for Vladdy without a homer. It's a pretty good take right there. Ball might have been off the plate inside.
(3-1). Big sound to it, but it's popped up into right center field. Sunfield right now for Adam Eaton, but he'll make the catch.
And that's why Robles came all the way over from center field. You remember Eaton lost the ball here in the first game. Similar time of the night. The bat of Derek Fisher who went up. He lost in the sun, but because it's the same time, Robles came all the way over just in case Eaton didn't see it.
Now Rowdy Tellez, who is DHing tonight. Rowdy 2 for 14 with a home run thus far. And the shift is on.
You know, you talk about Scherzer and what an elite pitcher he is. Only he and Randy Johnson have thrown no-hitters and also have a 20 strikeout game. Of course, Randy Johnson, the Hall of Famer, and Scherzer's going to be.
Slower breaking ball there, drops in for a strike.
That's a tough one for a hitter, especially a left-hander that's so slow, and it starts off the plate outside. It just kind of drops it on the outside corner. A pretty experienced battery the Nationals are featuring tonight, with Kurt Suzuki behind the plate, calling pitches for Max Scherzer. A little bit of a cutter there. Rowdy's 2 for 14, but he's made the most of those 2 hits. He's driven in 4 runs. He's homered, and he also has a sac fly to start the season.
That 2-run single he had last night in the 8th inning was a big one. Turned a 2-run lead into a 4-run lead. There's the changeup, and look at this. Rowdy's going to get a base hit out of that.
Right off the end of the bat. That's another weapon that Scherzer has, that great changeup. Turner had no play on it at all, and Rowdy will take that. A one-out infield single.
He saw everything from Scherzer. He saw a fastball, a slower breaking ball, a cutter, and then a changeup, and wound up doing just enough to get on base. One on, one out for Danny Jansen. Charlie Montoya was asked before the game today if he envisioned Jansen always catching Pearson, and Charlie said no. He goes, I want to rotate through the two guys, and if it's day game after night game or something like that, I don't want any pitcher too dependent on a catcher, and it'll be the matchups with the other pitcher as well. So both catchers figure to get a chance to catch Nate Pearson.
Yeah, you don't see that very often anymore. Of course, that used to be a real trend where pitchers might have a specific catcher. That happened with me in Milwaukee. I caught 3 guys. Charlie Moore caught 2 guys. But you're right. I think, especially with young catchers, you want them to catch everybody on the staff. So if something happens to the other guy, you're not going to be put in a jam.
Oh, 2. Got him.
The third baseman, number 2, Joe Panic.
Well, if that voice sounds familiar, that's Blue Jay PA announcer Tim Langton, who obviously, he's not in Washington, but he obviously did what he does, and he does it so well, and they sent the audio down of him announcing every Blue Jay player. And again, these are Blue Jay home games, technically. Short hopped out at second by Castro. Panic, and the Blue Jays retired here in the bottom of the second. No score. Pearson and Scherzer both pitching well.
Middle of a pandemic, wearing the home whites on the road with no fans, friends, or family in the stands to cheer you on. But Pearson is taking this all in stride, saying, you know what, we'll be able to share in this moment because I know they'll be watching and I'll feel their support. And boy, are they watching. Dave and Elaine Pearson are here in D.C. along with Nate's girlfriend there in the white. That's Claudia, and Abby, the sister, over at the end. Certainly not the way they had envisioned watching Nate's major league debut, but Dan, it doesn't change the fact that their son is in the show. Back to you.
All right, thank you. Great stuff, Hazel. You can see how proud they are and how much they're enjoying themselves watching Nate Pearson's major league debut. So far, so good. 2 innings, no hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And he'll face 8, 9, and 1 here in the top of the third. First batter for him is Andrew Stevenson. Second-round pick back in 2015. An outfielder who's been up and down the last few years, most of the time down at AAA for the Nationals. And he drives the ball to left center field. Teoscar Hernandez will give way to Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who will make the catch. That was a bit of an adventure.
You know what? I think Gurriel was so sure about making the catch. He calls off Teoscar, and you know, when you think about it, that's on his glove side, and the ball's tracking back to him because a left-handed hitter hit it. So it's probably an easier play for him. Looked like he had kind of a snow cone job and had to grab it for a second time, but that's a big first out to start the inning.
Now checking the charts as Victor Robles comes up, the Nationals center fielder. From what you know of Pearson, what you've seen of his stuff, obviously he's going to have some pretty good strikeout numbers. That's a given. But do you expect him to be more of a strikeout fly ball pitcher than a strikeout ground ball pitcher?
Yes, because he pitches up in the zone with that fastball. And he's going to get some ground balls on his changeup, but he's also going to get a lot of swing and misses with his slider and fastball. This is a very good fastball hitter here, and Victor Robles, he's really quick inside.
98.
You know, the Blue Jays weren't really sold on Nate Pearson when they drafted him in 2017. In fact, they took Logan Warmoth in the 22nd spot before they drafted Nate Pearson in the 28th spot of that first round. There were a lot of discussions about who they should pick.
Guerrero makes the grab, 2 down.
But you know what, Dan, and you know this, that before the draft, all the teams, scouts will come in, the organization will have a war room, and they'll have a big board up on the side with all of the people they've scouted, all the people they're interested in. And Matt Bischoff was the area's scout down in Spring Hill, Odessa, Tampa Bay area. And he had every answer for the war room regarding Nate Pearson. Whenever they had an answer, a question, hey, how come his velocity is here? How come his delivery has changed a little bit? Matt Bischoff knew everything about him. So that made it much easier for the war room to identify Pearson as somebody they wanted to take with the 28th pick. In those draft rooms, there's a lot of different opinions, and a lot of people are saying, well, you know, we don't know. But because Matt Bischoff had a relationship with the player, the family, and knew all of his history, he was the one that really sold them on Nate Pearson.
And we talked about it last night. Obviously, the pitching, the stuff, is very impressive, but in the limited interactions that we have had with him, as you try to get a feel for somebody and everything the coaching staff tells us, he's just as impressive off the field as he is on the field. 1-2.
Well, the ultimate compliment a young pitcher can get came from the pitching coach when Pete Walker said he's the closest thing to Roy Halladay I've had as far as focus, routine, dedication to his craft. That's high praise.
The 2-2. Espinal can't recover in time. Pearson left the slider out over the heart of the plate and hit hard in the hole at short. Should be a base hit, I would think, for Turner.
Now, Turner runs so well, I'm not so sure that even if Espinal fields it cleanly, you see he knocks it down and reaches for it the first time, can't find the baseball, and by then Turner is well on his way to first.
And it does go as a base hit for the Nationals, their first hit of the night. I think 10 batters in, Buck. I'm not sure we've seen anything other than fastball and slider. I don't think we've seen changeup or curveball yet from Nate Pearson tonight.
Now, he's thrown a slower slider, but he's going to be mid-80s with his slider. The curveball will upper 70s, maybe low 80s, but we haven't seen it yet, and haven't seen many changeups.
Yeah, the changeup is an effective pitch for him. We saw it in Boston a fair bit.
They're going to have to throw over to first base here in this at bat with Trey Turner there. Turner with 35 steals a year ago. He was caught stealing in a very pivotal point of the game in the 6th inning last night. Wagaspack went to first when he was on the move.
Not going. And a little bit inside for ball 2. Pearson admitted to a little bit of nerves at Fenway, even though it was an exhibition game, pitching in a park like Fenway against a big league lineup, and got better as the game went along. And his velocity ticked up as the game went along, which is very unusual, but maybe not all that unusual for him, although he's struggling to find the zone right now. A guy like Justin Verlander, not saying that Pearson is Verlander, but how many times have we seen Verlander at 94 in the first inning and 98 in the 8th inning? That's the kind of guy he is.
We saw that firsthand when he threw the no-hitter at Rogers Center.
In there for a strike, 3-1. The one walk issued by Pearson was to Eaton back in the first inning. And he missed outside, walked him again. So 2 on with 2 out as Charlie Montoyo looks on. Again, we are just guessing, but based on the 63 pitches he had in Boston, you'd imagine he's allowed to get up into the 70s here tonight, see how far that can take him. If they could get 5 good innings out of him, I think they'd be thrilled.
Yeah, and because they got a good performance from Tanner Roark last night, and then Wagaspack, Font, and Cole did the rest. Their bullpen is recharged a bit. They have some fresh arms down there tonight. I don't think Anthony Kay or Thomas Hatch are available just yet, as they both threw 40 pitches in Tampa Bay on Sunday, so they might need one more day.
It's another very hot night in Washington. 33 Celsius, 91 Fahrenheit. Fastball down the middle, 0-1 to Cabrera. The Blue Jays played a series in Philadelphia back in 2010, I believe it was, when the G20 Summit was in Toronto. They flip-flop series, and the Blue Jays were the home team down in Philadelphia. But this is a very rare occurrence, of course, to be the home team in a visiting park. And the Blue Jays will be the home team in Philadelphia beginning on Friday for that weekend series against the Phillies.
Yeah, this season is going to be very fluid, especially now given the situation with the Miami Marlins. The Yankees and Orioles are going to play a series against one another. That was going to be the Orioles and Marlins.
Biggio, Pearson over to cover, and he gets there in time to retire the side. A couple of men on, but no damage done. It's an all-New York exhibition matchup. The Islanders and the Rangers tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Sportsnet 1. For those of you who have been craving sports to watch over the last several months, it's here. Baseball's already started. Exhibition hockey, the real thing, begins on Saturday. The NBA is back on the weekend. Blue Jays down at Nationals Park, and what an interesting matchup. Nate Pearson and Max Scherzer. No score, bottom of the third. And here's Santiago Espinal in his first week in the big leagues, getting a chance to face a three-time Cy Young Award winner. Scherzer, too, doesn't really mess around out there. He gets the ball back, he looks in for the sign, and he's coming right back at you. Wow. Nasty slider, one down.
Boy, Scherzer could make that slider get real big. He just is so patient with it. He's such a great feel for it. And this is a big sweeping slider. You can see the tight spin, but it goes down and away from Espinal. Started on the plate and then ends up about 10 inches off the plate outside. Terrific pitch to finish off the at-bat.
Derek Fisher getting a start in right field tonight. Again with Randall Grichuk sideline with some tightness in his lower back. Blue Jays are down an outfielder. Teoscar Hernandez has moved over to center. Kevin Biggio was in right field last night. Fisher tonight. Blue Jays will have one more game against the Nationals tomorrow. Hyun-Jin Ryu will be on the mound for the Jays with an extra day's rest. Fisher lines one to left center field, and this is going to be off the wall, splitting the outfielders in deep left center. And Fisher's into second with a one-out double.
Rowdy Tellez had a squib infield hit, and that's the first hard hit ball off Scherzer. Fastball running away from Derek Fisher. He does a nice job of staying on it. And this ball hits high up on the fence in left field. He just missed hitting an opposite field home run against Max Scherzer.
Wow.
I mean, that's inches from going out of the ballpark. Derek Fisher, he had a 2-homer game in the exhibition game at Fenway Park against Boston.
That's an important stretch for him. Out of options. Teoscar Hernandez swings through a slider. Davey Martinez was asked before the game about facing a lineup with as many young players in it as the Blue Jays have, and Davey was talking about it, how aggressive they are, and he said even the leadoff guy, meaning Hernandez, not Bichette, the normal leadoff hitter, he said, you know, he's liable to swing with all he's got at the first pitch. He goes, we can't take anything for granted against this team.
You know, we kind of thought this about the Blue Jays during the hiatus. Because they're so young, they might be able to come out of the chute a little bit better than the older teams. First of all, they can get up to speed quicker just because of their youth. Secondly, the enthusiasm and the excitement of getting back to playing baseball, I think, does a lot for the Blue Jays.
Tried to check it, but he couldn't, and Hernandez strikes out 2 down.
Yeah.
Take on any project with Home Hardware, proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez. Hazel May here with the Sportsnet studios in Toronto. The Blue Jays are in Washington, D.C. tonight and one more night. Earlier I said that they'll be the home team for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday series in Philadelphia. The Friday game, I misspoke, the Friday game has been postponed. The Blue Jays will play a doubleheader on Saturday. Major League Baseball wants to give the Phillies one more day of testing because, of course, the Phillies were playing the Marlins at the time of the Miami outbreak. So no game Friday for the Blue Jays, but a doubleheader starting at 3 o'clock Eastern time Saturday, as baseball wants to see the Phillies have one more day of tests with nothing coming back positive. Their visiting clubhouse attendant tested positive, but none of the Phillies players have tested positive. And I believe, Buck, that no player in baseball other than the Marlins has tested positive since the season began.
Yeah, I think that's the case, and that's great news for baseball overall. Not so good news for the Miami Marlins, but you know, that was the concern. If somebody gets it in your clubhouse, it's going to spread throughout.
Biggio pops it up left side and back out of play. The Marlins are not scheduled to play again until Tuesday. Their games through Sunday have been postponed. They were scheduled to be off on Monday, but as Buck mentioned, like the Yankees all of a sudden are playing the Orioles next week, which wasn't on the original schedule, because baseball is trying to figure out a way to have as few games missed as possible and to try to get the schedule back to its original intent as best they can, but it's kind of all gotten out of whack here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of options being discussed now. Maybe the thought of playing a 9-inning game and a 7-inning game in double headers, maybe extending the 30-man roster a little deeper into the season.
We asked Charlie Montoyo about those two things before the game, and who knows, it could be in place by Saturday. And we asked him if it's 2 7-inning games or a 9 and a 7, which apparently is under discussion. Are you okay with that? And he raised his hand before the question was even over. He is all in favor of that this year, and he's also in favor of an expanded roster deeper into the season if baseball decides to do that.
There's really no reason not to extend the 30-man roster, maybe a couple of weeks.
Changeup taken low, full count.
Boy, Biggio, he has good at bats, doesn't he? No matter who he's facing or how often or how infrequent he has seen a pitcher, he just has good at bats.
Shift on against him. Fisher out at second with 2 down. And the full count pitch. Lays off a breaking ball low and draws a walk.
Scherzer confident he can throw that breaking ball anytime. That time he missed it and he didn't get Biggio to chase. Just a second walk so far for Kevin Biggio. But he had 71 last year.
So 2 on with 2 out for Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who struck out his first time up. There's Steven Strasburg, who is unavailable right now for the Nationals. Will not start tomorrow against the Blue Jays. A nerve irritation in his hand, and he'll miss the start. So I believe it'll be Eric Fedde filling in for him as he did last year. Now, Fedde actually pitched pretty well, but you know, the Nationals without Juan Soto, without Steven Strasburg, Ryan Zimmerman opted out. Just not quite where they need to be yet.
Gurriel didn't like the call, but Kurt Suzuki made it look a lot worse than it actually may have been. Watch Suzuki as he jabs at it and really swipes it away, but Gurriel upset by the call. I think it got the inside corner, just had a lot of late movement.
Fisher above average speed. Gurriel trying to bring him in with the first run of the night. Sharply hit, but Turner's got it, and the inning is over. The Blue Jays will leave a couple of men on, still scoreless in Washington.
About Pearson's work ethic, it's off the charts. Nothing alters his routine. Now, former Expo Anthony Telford is Pearson's off-season instructor and remembers watching video with Pearson at his Florida facility. They were brushing up on some mechanical things before he left for spring training this year. Pearson arrived at 9:30 in the morning and didn't pick up a baseball until 10:05. He went through an entire repertoire of warm-up and prep before he even touched a baseball. He's just so focused, Telford said, and determined to stay on top of his game. Just a phenomenal young man. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. Buck, things you like to hear.
Yep, absolutely. And he's focused, and he's not just happy he's pitching this game in the big leagues. He wants to pitch for a long time and pitch on championship teams. And how many times do we hear these young players talk about that? I want to be on a championship team. I want to bring a World Series to the Blue Jays, and those are the types of people you want on your ball club.
No score through 3. Pearson's allowed 1 hit. Scherzer has allowed 2. And it'll be Eric Thames, Kurt Suzuki, and Starlin Castro for the Nationals against Pearson here in the 4th. There's the first curveball of the night.
77 miles an hour to get ahead of Eric Thames. That is the first time he has thrown that. There's a changeup too. And this is important. If you're going to be successful in the big leagues, you have to have weapons that you can use second and third time through the order. Different pitches. You can't just stand up there and throw the same pitches to big league hitters time and time again.
Lined into right field, a base hit and maybe more. Fisher will cut it off. Thames is on his way to second and in there standing up.
For Eric Thames, that's his first extra base hit of the season. Fastball just out over the plate, not located, and Thames is a great fastball hitter. After seeing a curveball and a changeup, he is right on time with that fastball. Ends up with his first double of the season. He hit a breaking ball on the line to left field his first time up. Lined out to end the inning.
Here's Kurt Suzuki, who grounded out to third his first time up. A little bit high for ball 1.
Come right back with that same pitch. He has a good feel for what went wrong on that previous pitch. You call it again and you might get a ground ball on the left side and keep Thames at second.
Threw it again, but he missed inside. 2-0. You know, had this been a normal regular season, who knows how many innings Pearson would have been allowed to throw, because he didn't throw all that many last year, and you don't want to have too big of a jump from one season to the next, but because it's such a shortened season, that's not an issue. Up the middle, Biggio there. Look at the runner, but he'll take the out at first. If Pearson is to get, say, 11 starts, I mean, he'll, only chalk up maybe 60 innings on the year. So now that he's up in the big leagues, it's full steam ahead.
Yeah, it sure is. And as the season goes on, you're certainly going to let your eyes tell you how long he should pitch. And you look at the infield for the Blue Jays in on the edge of the grass with a runner at third and 1 out.
Starlin Castro trying to bring home the first run of the ball game. Panic, Espinal, Biggio, and Guerrero, the infield for the Blue Jays tonight, in support of Nate Pearson.
Boy, Danny Jansen, he has gotten so good at blocking those balls in the dirt. And we had mentioned both catchers, Reese McGuire and Danny Jansen. Charlie Montoya was thrilled to have 2 good young catchers that put catching first and foremost. Especially with a runner at third like that, Pearson's comfortable that anything in the dirt, Jansen will block.
Line to Biggio for out number 2.
The infield was drawn in position perfectly, and Pearson can smile at this one. That's a slider. Pearson swiped at it, but it's past him, and Biggio is right there behind him to make the catch.
You think he's smiling
Yeah.
at the swipe or at the fact that it found a glove?
At the swipe.
I think so, too.
He was thinking, I should have had that one.
So 2 down. Can he get Carter Kieboom and get out of this? Gets a call, and it's 0-1. Kieboom struck out his first time up. No activity in the Blue Jay bullpen. Pearson about to throw his 58th pitch. 97 as he dials it up a notch or two.
See, that's one thing velocity will do for you. When you're in a jam like this, you can reach back for a little extra. Elevate the pitch out of the strike zone. 2 strikes. Hitter has to be aggressive. This is where velocity plays. Plus the fact that they have to honor that, and then the slider becomes more effective.
And he got him. 99 at the knees to freeze him. And Pearson gets out of it. Exciting night for Blue Jays fans, and there's another reason why. MLB's league-leading 50-50 jackpots have gone virtual in 2020, and the season's first jackpot stands at, get this, over $363,000. Only 2 days left to join in on the excitement. Buy now from anywhere in Ontario at bluejays.com/5050. Bottom of the 4th, no score. And 0-1 the count on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Each team with a couple of base hits. Vladdy with a fly ball to right field his first time up. Rowdy Tellez on deck. Danny Jansen behind him. Vladdy had another one of those plays at first base a couple of innings ago where the shift was on, so Biggio was deep and pulled over to the right, kind of closer to Vladdy, and Vladdy went for a ball that he probably should have left. Easier play. Now Pearson got over to cover, so they got the out. But again, just kind of lacking experience over there and maybe lacking the feel about what's mine and what isn't mine.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of things going on in his mind. He's about playing first base. This is a fastball right down the middle. He swung underneath it. Take a look at this play we're talking about. This is a play that happened down in Tampa Bay where a relatively inexperienced first baseman goes after the ball, and then he thinks I should get back to the bag, but Pearson's there on time. Biggio makes a good throw, but Vladdy's just going to have a little checklist for himself. Left-handed batter, I got to check out where Cavan is, and then I can decide, go for the ball or go for the bag.
Takes that slider down low to work the count full. Here comes the 3-2. And he got him. Slider over the inner half, froze Vladdy one down.
Scherzer's putting on a clinic again, using all of his pitches, and that time he starts this breaking ball, and it catches the inside corner, and look at him walk off the mound very confidently. He had such a good feel for that slider. 5 strikeouts now through 3 1/3. I mean, this guy has authored a 20 strikeout game. 2 no-hitters. He's fun to watch pitch, isn't he?
Rowdy Tellez had an infield hit his last time up. Squibbed one off the end of the bat to the left side of the infield. Shift was on by the time Turner got there. There was nothing he could do with it. Most of the sunlight is now gone from the field, just a little bit out in deep right center. Again, these are games like this in a normal year would be 7 o'clock starts, but everything's different this year, and without fans needing time or people needing time to get home from work and then get to the ballpark, a lot of teams are starting games earlier to allow kids to watch them later. And a 6 o'clock start's a different kind of a sunlight situation than a 7 o'clock start.
Yeah, it can be very tough depending on where you are. I mean, we saw it early in this ball game, but now it's not a factor. Rowdy Tellez, he'll get the green light if he sees something he likes.
He liked it, but he didn't get it.
Scherzer just doesn't leave too many pitches over the heart of the plate. A little bit of tailing fastball on the outer part.
Three and two.
Well, that was interesting. We talk about the experience of the catcher and the pitcher in this situation, and even Kurt Suzuki, he offered a changeup, and Scherzer said, "No, I'm going to throw a fastball." And Scherzer's one of those guys that really reads the hitter's bat. He can see body language, he can see how he's approaching his pitches, and he wanted to throw that fastball and got the desired result.
Changeup. Rowdy was all geared up for another fastball, and he pops it up harmlessly into left field.
The catcher,
Charlie Montoyo's got to be thrilled with what he's seen so far from Nate Pearson. Probably not surprised, but thrilled nonetheless.
Just to be able to have him come up and pitched out of a couple of jams. Danny Jansen's done a good job with him so far in this game.
Jansen struck out his first time up, swings through a first pitch curveball. Like, it's just no fair when a guy's this good and he throws you his fourth best pitch on the first pitch. It's the last thing you're looking for.
And then adds a little bit more, cuts the slider down and away. And you know what, Nate Pearson, he's taking some notes here too. He's pitching against one of the most accomplished pitchers in all of baseball.
Drop down a little there.
Yeah, he'll give you all kinds of different looks, and like I say, he has a real good feel for what will work against a batter in a particular at bat. He stole a strike with that curveball first pitch.
Got him. The 23-year-old rookie, the 36-year-old veteran, trading zeros here in Washington. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie and Joe in the Samsung studio. 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, so we got more baseball for you at night. The Yankees are in Baltimore to take on the Orioles, 7:30 Eastern time on Sportsnet. That's a series that was created because of all the scheduling issues brought on by the Marlins outbreak. I'm getting all confused. It's gone so many different directions, but the Yankees were heading home. They thought to play the Phillies. Phillies were shut down for a few days. Orioles were supposed to play the Marlins, so the Yankees stayed in Philly, then went south down to Baltimore, where they're playing the Orioles tonight and tomorrow as baseball tries to salvage as much of it as they can, get as many games played within reason, within health protocols as they can. Top 5. Breaking ball in for a strike. Nate Pearson with 4 shutout innings thus far.
And you know what's really impressive, Dan? The Nationals are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. He's had a couple of opportunities, and he's been able to pitch out of those jams. There's a good changeup.
Yeah, you're right. Second time through the order. A couple of changeups, a couple of curveballs kind of held back that first time through, maybe because he didn't feel he needed to show them everything early.
Yeah, and you don't need to throw a lot of them. You just throw it so you make an effective pitch with it, and everybody in that Nationals dugout makes notes.
Another change.
Yeah, that one got away from him.
So, but 90 on the change. Again, everything is kind of ticking up right now in terms of velocity. And he went around to the breaking ball. 1 down here in the 5th.
Well, you know what I think's happening with Nate Pearson right now is that he understands, hey, this is just another ballgame. I know it's my first big league game, but now I'm pitching and matching a 3-time Cy Young Award winner pitch for pitch. Danny Jansen's done a nice job of bringing in the curveball and the changeup here in the middle innings. Another good slide. That's strikeout number 4 for Nate Pearson, as you see the bullpen starting to go to work.
Rafael Dolis now starting to throw. We mentioned we thought Pearson might be 70 to 75 pitches. At 63 right now. Slider that Robles goes around at. So Pearson has thrown, I think, 6 pitches this inning, and none of them have been fastballs. All breaking balls and changeups. This is the number 9 hitter, so Pearson finishing off his second time through the order. There's a fastball, and he's throwing harder now than he did in the first couple of innings.
Yeah, I think he's really gotten comfortable now. To him right now, I believe he feels like this is just another ball game.
To Blue Jay fans, it isn't. They've been waiting for this one for a while. Boy, he's got the slider working now.
Yeah, he sure does. He's got real good depth on that slider. It's a real hard breaking ball that goes down more than away. I mean, that's a Juan Guzman type of slider.
1-2. That one moved a little more horizontally, not as much vertically.
Yeah, I think we have seen a couple of things in this at bat where he throws one good pitch and then he's tried to throw the next one better instead of just being confident to throw it the same way. But he's doing a heck of a job tonight. More patient with that slider there. Now I think it's time to run that fastball upstairs. He hasn't thrown a lot of high fastballs other than in the first inning when he was just a little bit overamped. Elevate that fastball right now, and I bet you Robles will swing at it.
Pete Walker's got the charts out as always. Charlie Montoyo looking it over. There's the high fastball, but he got a piece of it.
Yeah, it was a good time for that. So now Robles is really in a defensive mode. He's seen great breaking balls in this at bat, and he was late on that high heater.
And you wonder in terms of how long he stays. Is it results? Is it pitch count? Is it matchups? As if, say, when Eaton comes up. Hung that one a little bit. Dolis being up this early suggests to me, maybe, Buck, that they like his splitter against the left-handed batters, and they're saving Romano for the right-handed batters with the slider. So, you know, Nate could come out if Eaton comes up, regardless of how things are going. But they got to like the way he's pitching right now. Way high, full count.
Yeah, a little bit too high. Well, and Chew, I think the plan is to kind of separate Dolis and Romano and Bass and keep one of those guys available every night, so you have the ability to close out games with the lead.
3-2, and he got him. Took a little bit more off the breaking ball, and did you see just a little hint of a fist pump there by Pearson near his hip? Nothing too big, but he was fired up about putting away Robles.
Absolutely. Taking a page out of Max Scherzer's book, a 3-2 slider for a strikeout. He struck out 3 in a row now.
You don't want to show anybody up, obviously, in your first big league game, but you could see that was a good battle, and he won it. Now Trey Turner. Slow curveball for a strike. Man, there's some excited people from coast to coast watching this baseball game right now, Buck, because they've been waiting a long time for Nate Pearson.
2 of them are right here.
Grounded foul.
So now Turner's got to think, okay, he threw me a curveball, a fastball up. He's probably going to throw me a slider. So now this is a time for Danny Jansen to go fastball away. He called fastball away, but Pearson wants the slider.
0-2. Reaches for it, pops it up into right field. Fisher is there. Could be the end of the night for Nate Pearson, and if it is, what a job this young man has done in his major league debut. Major league debut, and that guy right there, Mr. Walker, is right at the front of the line. How'd you like to be a pitching coach and have this guy fall into your lap?
Yeah, he's the one guy that really hates social distancing right now because he wants to give Nate Pearson a big hug. Man, that was pretty special. He was under control. He was completely in control of his emotions. How about striking out 3 of the last 4 batters he faced, if indeed that was his last inning? What a performance. Nationals hitters 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Joe Panik will lead off the bottom of the 5th for the Blue Jays. Panik,
Right now,
Espinal, and Fisher.
excuse me, Dan, the Blue Jays hitters are going, let's get this kid a run.
Yeah.
He's in line for a win if you can score right here. Get him a run.
Panik made his first ever big league start at shortstop a couple of days ago. Now he makes his first ever big league start at third base. Could wind up in left field at some point this year as well. Again, the Blue Jays are without not only Bichette on the infield and Grichuk in the outfield, but Travis Shaw is not with the team right now as well. So when you consider they're down 2 regulars and Shaw pretty much a regular, at least a guy who would play against righties, and they're getting at bats out of guys like Panik and Espinal and Fisher, and they're hanging in there with some good teams. They've taken 2 already from Washington.
We saw Bo Bichette taking ground balls today during batting practice. That's a real good sign. So hopefully he'll be back within a day or 2. We haven't really noticed Randall out on the field, but then again, we're not at the ballpark, so we can't see the entire field all the time.
2-2. And a ground ball into the shift. Panik retired 1 down. Baseball is back, and the MLB app is the place to get all your baseball action. In-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, standings, and much more. Download the MLB app today, the #1 app for live baseball. Nate Pearson in his major league debut, 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and without question, Buck, finished stronger than he started. The velocity, the command, and the pitch sequencing all took a step in a great direction in the last couple of innings.
It's really not surprising with a guy like Pearson. A little bit of jitters in the first inning. He was off with his fastball a bit. But as the game wore on, he was more comfortable. He trusted his pitches, and he's so big and strong. I think he's going to have that pattern throughout his career of getting better and really kind of elevating his pitches to another level.
Santiago Espinal strikes out. That's 7 for Max Scherzer, who in his first start this year against the Yankees, we mentioned he struck out 11 and 5 in the 3rd. It's the 94th time in his career he has struck out 10 or more. That is 6th on baseball's all-time list. He moved past Curt Schilling into 6th on the all-time list with that performance a start ago. 2 down for Derek Fisher, who had a well-hit ball, a double to left center, about 3-4 inches away from getting on out of the ballpark.
Yeah, it was a fastball away, and you're right, just at the top of the fence. Scherzer got in the middle of his delivery and had second thoughts. I don't want to throw that pitch.
Good changeup. Boy, that's just no fair.
No, he's got a great delivery, and it's quite a contrast in styles with Nate Pearson and Max Scherzer. Pearson pitching out of the stretch, and Scherzer using an old-fashioned windup. Over the head, gathers himself, bounces over the rubber, and then explodes toward the hitter. Don't see an awful lot of pitchers utilizing this type of windup anymore.
Rafael Dolis still throwing in the bullpen, so I think the educated guess would be that Nate Pearson is done, that maybe they don't want him to see those left-handed batters for a 3rd time, and he's kind of again in that range for pitch count that we thought might be the limit. So it looks like Dolis is going to come in for the 6th.
I don't think those left-handed batters want to see Nate Pearson for a 3rd time.
You think they're going to signal down to the bullpen?
Yeah. Bring him in. He looks tired to me.
Boy, what a fun game. A guy like this and Scherzer against a rookie in his major league debut with such a high ceiling.
All 6 of the Blue Jay games have been good games.
They really have been.
Yep.
Close almost throughout. At the knees for strike 3 called. 8 strikeouts for Scherzer. Scoreless at the end of 5. And it looks like the night has come to a close for Nate Pearson. to Nate Pearson. And we can't see, you know, if Charlie's smiling, but I think we can.
Yeah, I think his eyes are all wrinkled up. Absolutely, he's smiling. Nate Pearson is the third pitcher in Blue Jays history to throw 5+ scoreless innings in a Major League debut, joining Mauro Gazzo and Trent Thornton. Thornton, of course, did it last year against the Tigers. That's a good start, man. That's a good start.
So no score, top 6. In out of the bullpen is Rafael Dolis. He will face Adam Eaton, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Eric Thames, all left-handed batters. Cabrera, a switch hitter, hitting from the left side. And again, I wonder if this is matchups. If this is splitter against the lefties and then Romano's slider against the righties, we'll find out. But Dolis, Romano, and Bass all had yesterday off. So they all should be fresh and good for an inning here in this game.
Yeah. Dolis, his fastball's been okay. It's got a lot of movement. That was a two-seam fastball that just missed upstairs. They're trying to really get his splitter working. It hasn't been real good yet. But that sinker is really moving. You can see that one was in the heart of the plate, and all Eaton could do was foul it off. Dolis had a good splitter in spring training, but so far since the regular season has started, he's been spiking it, throwing it right in the dirt in front of home. But Pete Walker's confident that he's going to get the feel for that splitter again.
That is a foul ball. His first 2 outings were a little shaky. The command wasn't there, fell behind in the count a lot. But it's 2 outings, and they're not going to walk away from what they hoped he would be after just a couple of outings. Charlie Montoyo has talked repeatedly about the track record, albeit in Japan, but the track record that he had as a closer, and believing in the stuff, but more than that, believing in the poise and the competitiveness of Dolis, given the fact that he has been a closer at a very high level of baseball.
Another fastball missed. But that typically is where he would use that splitter, but he just doesn't have the feel for it yet. Slider's been reasonably good. Fastball has been okay, but I think his arm speed, arm strength's going to tick up as he gets more innings under his belt. That was a good splitter. That was in the strike zone with good movement, had Eaton out in front. So that made Pete Walker a little bit more comfortable.
The 2-2. Ground ball to short. Espinal gathers and fires one down. Let's get an update now with Jamie Campbell.
Last night's game in Houston was rather acrimonious. Tonight's game in Houston is led by the Dodgers after Corey Seager's first home run of the year. 1-0 early on at Minute Maid, Dan.
Yeah, so it got nasty last night. Joe Kelly and the Houston Astros. Joe Kelly got suspended for 8 games today for throwing near the head of Alex Bregman. And then I think taunting was the word that MLB put out in its release. Carlos Correa. Everybody knows the Astros are not that popular. Everybody knows they're not that popular with the Dodgers. I think most people know Joe Kelly wasn't on the Dodgers in 2017 when they played in the World Series. Whether that matters or not is up to interpretation, I guess. But Joe Kelly, you know, he'll veer off script every now and again. It looks like he did it last night. It's going to cost him 8 games as Fisher hauls it in right field, 2 down.
Yeah, the one that was really shaky in my mind is the 3-0 pitch he threw over the head of Alex Bregman. I mean, if you want to hit a batter, hit him with the first pitch. But when you throw 3 pitches and miss, then the batter kind of assumes that you're not going to do anything, and then you throw a 3-0 pitch over his head. I don't agree with that at all. And you know what? A lot of pitchers think that Houston needs to pay the price a little bit, and they've been hit frequently going back in the exhibition season. Bregman and Altuve both got hit playing against Kansas City in an exhibition game.
2 down for Eric Thames. Doubled his last time up. He's also lined out. He's had a couple of good at-bats tonight.
Picked up his first extra base hit of the season, leading off the 4th. But that was one of the 6 base runners stranded in scoring position by Nate Pearson. Who says you can't enjoy a ball game?
Got a laptop and a glass of wine and a clear view. What else do you need?
Perfect setup. Boy, that's a good sign. That splitter is starting to come around for him. Just another pitch that hitters have to worry about. They expect Thames to pull the ball on the ground, play him straight away in the outfield.
There's a good one right there.
That's the best one he's thrown so far this season. That one started out at the knees and broke down out of the strike zone. Looks like a fastball out of the hand.
Shakes off Jansen a couple of times.
He wants that splitter again.
And he got him. The best inning that Rafael Dolis has had in a Blue Jay uniform.
For the night after 5 strong innings in his major league debut. Now, Jeff Swimer was Pearson's high school coach at Bishop McLaughlin Catholic High School in Florida. And he said that Pearson is a bit of an introvert, but there's a fire inside of him that makes him want to be better than everybody else. And that's the part you can't coach. He almost needs someone to slow him down, Dan, to relax and take a day off. But Swimer says Pearson doesn't have that kind of mentality.
Quiet confidence, I think, is a good way to put it. When we've had access to Nate in media Zoom situations, his expression doesn't change. He says some confident things about himself, but he doesn't say them in a cocky sort of way.
Yeah, he's really confident. He understands. And you know what, in his interview yesterday, they asked him what he wants to accomplish. He said, I want to stay healthy. I want to throw strikes. I want to pitch a lot of innings. And if I do all those things, I'll be successful. Pretty simple approach. And he did that tonight.
Yep. Next start figures to be Tuesday at Atlanta in the opening game of that series. I'll sign up for a little Pearson Acuna. That sounds like fun. Got a piece. Here's what Nate Pearson did in his major league debut. 5 scoreless innings, a couple of walks, and 5 strikeouts. And really got better and better. Retired his last 6 of the night. 3 of his last 4 outs were strikeouts. Mixed his pitches more. Second time through the order and threw hard later in the game than he did early.
First major league at bat, he struck out Trey Turner. Boy, that is filthy. Blue Jays hitters have seen the entire assortment of pitches from Max Scherzer tonight. And this is a different breaking ball. Change the arm angle a little bit, drop down to a 3/4 delivery, and that thing breaks forever away from Hernandez.
Number 9 on the evening for Scherzer, and here's Kevin Biggio. Wrapped sharply into a 3-6-3 double play his first time up, and then he walked in the 3rd. Even though he doesn't have a hit, and I know the first one was a double play, but it was deep into the at-bat. He hit the ball hard. He might have had the best quality at-bats of anybody on the Blue Jays team tonight, as Sam Gaviglio now gets up. So you know they've got Romano, and you know they've got Bass, but I guess that leaves them an inning short right now. So they're going to ask Gaviglio to come in, heading towards the bottom of the order now, and try to bridge it, keep him in the game, and get to Romano and Bass, hopefully in a favorable situation.
Max Scherzer just never gives you 2 pitches in the same spot in the same at bat. Different pitch, different speed, different location. He can mix it up. That's
a good pitch, and Biggio did well to get a piece of it. Make no mistake, Washington needs a win. It's only game 6, but it's only a 60-game season, and they're 1-4 right now. They have scored a total of 2 runs in this series, counting the last 2, and these 2 is the same series. So they've had 24 turns at bat against the Blue Jays this week, and they've scored 2 runs.
Yeah, Blue Jays are getting some good pitching. They're 3rd in the American League, behind Cleveland and Texas in ERA coming into this game. 286 earned run average. Cleveland's got a monster rotation right now.
Yep. Clevenger, Carrasco, Bieber. Wow, close but low, 3-2.
He's going to throw some sort of off-speed pitch right here. Changeup, slider. Watch the sign from Suzuki. Changeup.
Grounded to second. And Abigio retired for the second out.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays. Only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
Bottom of the 6th in Washington, and no score. Yes, it is the bottom of the 6th with the Blue Jays batting. If you're just tuning in, first of all, you missed 5 great innings of Nate Pearson, which Pete Walker did not miss and won't soon forget. But the Blue Jays are the home team. Today, tomorrow, and then a doubleheader Saturday in Philadelphia, single game Sunday in Philadelphia. The Blue Jays will be the home team for 5 games on the road because Buffalo not quite ready to go yet. Gurriel grounds out. Scherzer's in a groove. He has set down 10 in a row. Another pre-qualifier tune-up coming your way. It'll be the Canucks and the Jets later on tonight, 10:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific Time on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 1. What a ball game going on in Washington, D.C. right now between the Blue Jays and the Nationals. There is no score. Sam Gaviglio becomes the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays as he takes the mound in the top of the 7th.
Sam Gaviglio making his 2nd appearance of the season. He took the loss Saturday as he came in and had some trouble, gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, was the losing pitcher in that 4-1 loss to Tampa Bay.
Gaviglio will face Kurt Suzuki, Starlin Castro, and Carter Kieboom. Each team with just 2 base hits tonight. The Nationals have left 4 men on, and the Blue Jays have left 3 men on. Suzuki's 0 for 2. And Gaviglio gets a call on the outside corner, and you can see Suzuki's reaction. He didn't like that at all.
There has really been only 2 hard hit balls. Thames had a hard hit double in the 4th, and Derek Fisher, his double went off the top of the fence in left field. That came in the 3rd inning. The other 2 were infield hits.
Slider fouled off 0-2. Blue Jays, you'd figure, are down several relievers tonight. We talked about guys like Kay and Hatch, who pitched fairly extensively on Sunday, maybe needing another day. Baraki just pitched 2 days ago. And then Waguespack went 2 innings in last night's game. Font pitched. Cole pitched.
Yeah, and Pete Walker is very conscientious about keeping everybody as healthy as possible. So Hatch, Kay, Baraki probably not available until tomorrow, just because of their pitch count in their last outings.
Check swing and a foul off. And that's why when Charlie was asked before the game, are you in favor of the expanded roster, there's no downside for him. All managers want to have as many arms as they can.
Yeah. And you're seeing that most teams are having to utilize those extra players.
Too far outside with that 2-seamer. 2-2.
Well, Gaviglio will work to the outer part of the plate to the right-handers. He'll throw that swing back fastball that he starts off the plate, hoping to catch the outside corner, and he's got a very good slider he can throw down and away. Too far off the plate. He didn't start it on the plate enough.
Full count pitch. Lifted in the air to right field. Should it be routine for Fisher? Out number 1. Download the MLB Ballpark app for free and play Pick 3. Select 3 Blue Jays players from the starting lineup and earn points based on their performance during the game. The fan with the highest point total at the end of the game has the chance to win an autographed Blue Jays item. Download MLB Ballpark app today. Visit BlueJays.com/ballpark app. 1 down, top 7, no score. And here's Starlin Castro. Slider right on the edge, 0-1. "30 years old, already has over 1,600 hits in his career because he was a regular, as we mentioned last night, at the age of 20. He's in his 11th full season.
And he plays every day. He played 162 games last year. He's had a little bit of a rough start here defensively for the Nationals. Last night's game, he committed a couple of errors, and the Blue Jays were able to capitalize them. They were able to get on the board after a couple of his errors, and the Blue Jays hitters, Reese McGuire and Kevin Biggio, hustled up the line with 2 outs and kind of forced the error.
Pulled foul.
That time calling the slider, Danny Jansen had a little bit more in the middle of the plate. Gaviglio had pulled the slider off the plate outside, so that time after he called it, he sat in the middle of the plate to give Gaviglio more of a target over the heart of the plate, and then that ball was in the strike zone, so he got a swing from Castro. If you're too far off the plate and that slider starts off the plate out of your hand, they're never going to chase it.
Going away again. Missed upstairs, though, for ball 4, and the Nationals have a base runner with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. We may have the best seat in the house that's not in the house, but that's a close second up there. That's some prime real estate in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, they have really built up the area around the ballpark since it was first opened. You see there's apartments, businesses, restaurants. You and I were on top of the building out there in center field for the All-Star game a couple of years ago.
That's right.
It's the best seat we could get.
A solid base hit into center for Carter Kieboom. Up to second on the play goes Castro.
For Kieboom, that's just his second hit of the season. This is a fastball. It's just up about belt high, and he stays on it, drives it right back into center. Not a whole lot on that pitch, and it was elevated to the point where Kieboom had a good look at it. Jansen out to talk now with a runner at second base. Monday, the Blue Jays turned 4 double plays. They could use one right here.
And Danny Jansen, Pete Walker now maybe buying a little bit of time as Jordan Romano is getting up in the bullpen. It seemed fairly clear what the assignment was here for Sam Gaviglio. Try to get through this 1 inning and get it to Romano and Bass in the 8th and 9th, so they only each had to pitch 1 inning. The question is, can Gaviglio do that? And again, other guys are clearly down from having been used. The addition of Pearson to the staff gives them another true starter, obviously, where now, whether it's a guy like Thomas Hatch, who was kind of an opener a few days ago, I think by tomorrow Thomas Hatch is in the bullpen mix and is that bridge guy, or can, will be given a chance to be that 6-out, get you from the starter to the late guys kind of reliever.
I think Anthony Kay and Ryan Baraki will be available tomorrow as well.
Yeah. It is obviously still evolving, but even with pretty good depth, the addition of Pearson, I think, improves the depth and will give Charlie Montoya and Pete Walker the chance to make the move they want to make more often. But Gaviglio is in a jam right now. First and second, 1 out. Andrew Stevenson 0 for 2.
Stevenson is 0 for 4 in the early going this season. Blue Jays playing him to pull on the right side of the infield. Panic, the lone defender near the bag at third.
Trying to bunt for a base hit, and he bunts it foul.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, you're in a scoreless game in the 7th inning. You got a runner in scoring position, and you got a right-handed batter behind you. Knock him in.
Romano continues to throw in the bullpen. 1-2 the count on Stevenson. Lays off.
This is the 4th batter that Gaviglio has faced, so if they decide to make a move with the right-handed hitter on deck and go to Romano, maybe thinking about the strikeout, he's ready.
Big pitch coming here. Fouled off. We'll do it again. Well, it lived up to the billing with Pearson making his debut for the Blue Jays, and Scherzer has been sensational for the Nationals. And we're still looking for the first run of the night either side. Lays off again, and a full count. Davey Martinez, the manager of the defending World Series champions. You can see Trey Turner a couple of spots away, the leadoff man for the Nationals, getting ready in the dugout. Gaviglio trying to work himself out of some trouble. This ball is lined to left field. Gurriel back, and he's got it. Terrific running backhanded catch by Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Gurriel made the switch last year from second base to left field. He started 60 games in left field, and he looks like he's been playing it his whole life. He had 9 assists, and this is a play that probably saves 2 runs in this scoreless game. Coming off the bat of a left-handed hitter, that ball slicing away from him, but he's got good speed, covers a lot of ground, and saves Gaviglio 1, maybe 2 runs right here.
And that is going to be all for Gaviglio. Romano will come in a scoreless game. What a fun baseball game. You know, if you like Cy Young Award winners and major league debuts and pitchers duels and all that sort of thing. And Jordan Romano trying to hold up his end of the bargain here, inheriting a 2-on, 2-out situation in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Romano came into the game here on Monday night and came in with 1 out in the 7th inning and got out of it. You got the two batters he faced, Don and Castro and Howie Kendrick, and he's trying to end his threat right here in the 7th.
So this is game 6 for the Blue Jays on the season, and the 4th appearance already for Romano. An inning, 2/3 of an inning. Number 9 hitter Victor Robles. Slider down and away.
Terrific catch by Gurriel in left field. Saved a couple of runs for the time being. And now Romano has a chance to get out of it.
Fastball in at 96 to even it up.
Nationals are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position so far tonight. Romano trying to make it 0 for 8.
Misses low with that slider at 90. 2 balls and a strike. Not that Robles is an easy out or anything, but you don't want to see Trey Turner this inning. You want to end this right here if you can. This is a good young player, though, just 23 years of age, all kinds of ability. Ooh, not where he wanted it, but he gets a strike.
Yeah,
2-2.
Romano wanted to throw that slider. Jansen offered a fastball, but he shook to the slider, and he throws a good one. Robles struck out on a slider back in the 5th. That was against Pearson, of course.
Two, and he got him with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball as Romano comes in and does the job. It is the home opener for the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, they're in Washington, D.C., but this is technically a home game. Blue Jays are batting last. And they've brought OK Blue Jays down to Washington, D.C. to try to make it feel as much like a home game as they can.
That song has lasted forever, hasn't it? Terrific little touch for the Blue Jays. Hear that song in Nationals Park. What a game.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. First pitch swinging. 2-hopper to short. And Vladdy is now 0 for 3 on the night. So this is bottom 7. Blue Jays home team. No score. Blue Jays in the home whites. Terrific outing by Nate Pearson, but he's not as built up as Max Scherzer is in terms of a pitch count. So Pearson went 5. Scherzer pitching here into the bottom of the 7th. Will face Rowdy Tellez, who has one of the 2 Blue Jay hits, and it's an infield hit.
Scherzer has retired 11 in a row. Last guy to reach was Biggio, who walked with 2 outs in the 3rd.
Derek Fisher's double was extremely hard hit, almost went out. Other than that, Buck, I'm having trouble. You know, Biggio's double play ball was relatively well hit, but I mean, Scherzer's got 9 strikeouts. There has not been that much hard contact. Castro, 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Blue Jays are down in Washington, D.C. again tonight. They'll play again tomorrow afternoon. Don't forget, it's an earlier start. It is a 4 o'clock or 4:05 to be exact first pitch, with Blue Jay Central with Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall coming your way at 3:30 Eastern time. And then the Blue Jays have themselves an off day in Philadelphia. They won't play on Friday against the Phillies. They'll play a doubleheader on Saturday to give the Phillies an extra day to go through more testing to make sure there are no positive tests after their games with the Marlins. 2-0 slider, and he still got it.
Scherzer will not give in. He has 4 effective pitches working tonight, and he's used them all at various counts throughout the course of the game. That was a 2-0 slider in a perfect spot. and still has enough zip on his fastball to beat Danny Jansen upstairs.
95 pitches, so maybe this is last inning. Who knows if Davey would let him come out for the 8th inning. It wouldn't be an easy conversation for Davey.
No, yeah, I'd do it from one end of the dugout. Hey, Max,
Yeah,
you're done.
yeah.
Down there, Max. Yeah.
Can you guys go tell Max that he's done? Changeup, down and in a full count.
Well, you know, it's really interesting because I think pitching changes are easier in the National League than they are in the American League because the pitcher hits. So the game dictates if his spot's coming up, it's easier for managers to know when to make a pitching change. Right. I think it's always more of a challenge in the American League.
Yeah, and of course it's universal DH this year. 3-2.
Emergency hack right there. Scherzer threw that slider inside, and Jansen looked like he was going to take it, and then finally said, oh, I better foul this one off at least. He throws front door sliders, back door curveballs, change up anytime. He's pretty tough.
Three-two. Slider grounded up the middle, backhanded by Castro, and on to first, dug out by Thames to retire the side. End of 7, and still no score. Beautiful night down in Washington. The Blue Jays and Nationals scoreless going to the 8th. Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez. Hazel May is with us as well. We're here at the Sportsnet studios in Toronto. This is our home. It is great. And what a ball game we've seen tonight.
It's been a terrific ball game, and Nate Pearson making his Major League debut tonight really matched Max Scherzer pitch for pitch. Unfortunately, Scherzer is still pitching because Nate Pearson hasn't been stretched out. This is the second start of the season for Max Scherzer, but boy, oh boy, what a terrific ball game again. And the Blue Jays, they've been in every game they have played so far against Tampa Bay and now the Washington Nationals.
Jordan Romano with a big strike out of Victor Robles with 2 men on and 2 men out to end the top of the 7th. He's back out there for the 8th to face the top of the order. Trey Turner, Adam Eaton, and Asdrubal Cabrera. Turner is 1 for 3 on the night. This is the guy you got to keep off the bases because of his speed.
Fastball in the dirt. We mentioned Romano this offseason tightened up his slider a little bit, and now he's throwing 2 different sliders. One that's got a little bit bigger break, he can throw more consistently in the strike zone. The other one basically a 2-strike wipeout slider. But I don't want to see him shy away from his fastball. You throw 98, you got to use it.
Nobody's up in the Washington bullpen right now, so it looks like Scherzer is coming back out for the 8th inning. Slider grounded back to the mound. Romano looks it over and fires it onto Guerrero at first. 1 down.
Jordan has made some dramatic strides the last couple of years. Came up last year, had some good moments, had some bad moments, but he made a conscious effort to really zero in on his pitching, and so far so good for Jordan. They can really use him if he can morph into an 8th inning guy or maybe even close later on down the road.
Especially with Giles out.
Yeah.
Bass becomes more important. Romano becomes more important. And even Wilmer Font, A.J. Cole. We saw Dolis earlier, but Cole being a guy who they can trust in some high leverage situations, and Wilmer Font being back with the team. All 5 of those guys are basically 1-inning guys, although Romano may get 4 outs tonight. And then if you have some guys you can trust ahead of them in multi-inning situations, you talked about Kay and Baraki and Hatch. And where does Chase Anderson fit in when he comes back?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting now, especially with Pearson making his start tonight. But like we've said many, many times, I've never heard a manager say, you know, I have too many starters. Can you get rid of a couple of them? They'll figure it out. He and Pete Walker put things together. Chase Anderson had a live BP session here earlier today. He's progressing well and should be close to being activated.
Boy, it comes out easy, and it's 98.
I think when you throw like that, you need to shoot for bigger parts of the strike zone. And it's got a lot of movement on it, so shoot for the middle and let it work to the edges.
This guy's a tough out. He's a battler at the plate.
Been a tough out for a long time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a guy who's been a tough out for a long time, the Atlanta Braves announced today that Nick Markakis, who had opted out of the season, is opting back in.
Yeah, that's really good news for Atlanta. You know, I think when Freddie Freeman caught the virus, Markakis then reacted to Freeman's illness and said, you know what, I got 3 boys. I had a great career. I don't want to jeopardize their health or mine as well. But now he's had second thoughts.
Yes, he did. Out number 2. Eaton not happy with the call at the plate.
Eaton is 0 for 2 now. You can see with 2 strikes, and I agree with him. I don't think he went. And you can see he's upset. He looks at the home plate umpire, and he didn't swing at that pitch.
2 down for Asdrubal Cabrera as the Nationals bat here in the top of the 8th inning. Going to be interesting when the Blue Jays get to that doubleheader on Saturday and how they work through the pitching. And the Phillies will be in the same situation, but it would really be in the Blue Jays' best interest if Bo Bichette and Randall Grichuk were back by Sunday.
Yeah, I think we'll see both of them back. I think Bo's going to be close to being ready tomorrow. I watched him take ground balls today. He looked like he was moving around pretty good.
Cabrera didn't like that call. 1-1.
I think what really plays in the Blue Jays' favor in that doubleheader, Anthony Kay, Ryan Borucki, Thomas Hatch, all capable of going multiple innings for you. So one of those 3 guys could start if you had to.
Yeah, if Hyun-Jin Ryu can give the Jays a good 6 or 7 tomorrow, then with the off day Friday, they'll be in really good shape heading into the doubleheader. And because there are no fans involved, it's like the old days. It's not a day-night doubleheader. There's no need to do that. You don't want players hanging around the ballpark longer than they have to. It'll be a traditional doubleheader. As Tanner Roark is talking pitching with Hyun-Jin Ryu and Chase Anderson.
Boy, he was good last night.
Wow. He went around 98 up above the belt. What an overpowering inning for Jordan Romano. Time now once again for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie and Joe in the Samsung studio. So you couldn't go wrong with any one of these 3 guys. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Clayton Kershaw, all likely headed to the Hall of Fame and all extraordinary over the last decade. Kershaw with a big ERA advantage, of course, pitching his entire career in the National League. Scherzer half and half, Verlander All-American League, but 3 just, I mean, absolute studs.
Yeah, great starting pitchers. Give you a lot of innings, get you a lot of strikeouts, don't give up many runs, and they take the ball. They're old-fashioned in that regard. I pitch every 5 days, and I'll tell you when I'm done.
Houston without Verlander right now, though. Forearm situation. Who knows how long that'll be. The Dodgers without Kershaw right now. Out with an issue with his back, which doesn't sound all that serious. But again, it's only a 66-day season. So even if it's a little bit serious, you can lose a big chunk of time.
100 pitches now for Scherzer.
Up the middle and through, a base hit for Joe Panik. And the leadoff man is aboard for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, a nice swing from Panik. That pitch away. He got a breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike. And then they come back and throw a fastball in the same area, and he takes it right back up the middle. Panik now 4 for 20 against Scherzer, and he's going to give way to the pinch runner, Anthony Alford.
So the Blue Jays with terrific speed aboard here to begin the bottom of the 8th inning. Santiago Espinal is the batter. I don't know if you would do it against Scherzer, but we saw a hit and run with Espinal at the plate last night.
Yeah. He may be asked to bunt in this situation. And Scherzer wanted to see if Espinal would tip his hand, whether he'd slide his hand up the bat, and he didn't show any indication he was thinking about bunting. Oftentimes pitchers will go to first just to see if that batter will tip their hand.
Not going, and he did show, but he pulled the bat back.
Yeah.
1-0.
Kurt Suzuki, the catcher, had a terrible time throwing last year, but he had a bad shoulder. He just never could throw. He only caught 3 of 48 base runners last year, but he's throwing better now, but he's not blessed with a great arm. But he's healthy this year. Last year he just had a bad shoulder.
Keyboom away and on the grass at third. Alford being held on at first, and there he goes. Espinal bunts through it, and the throw is not nearly in time. Alford with a stolen base.
Yeah, that's a good gamble right there, and now he was bunting through the breaking ball. Alford picks up the stolen base. The Blue Jays are 6 for 6 in steal attempts this year. You know what? Espinal had no intention of bunting that. He was just blocking the catcher's view.
Yeah, I think you're right. I miscalled it. He didn't try to bunt it.
No, he was just aware he was going to stick that bat out in front of the catcher's eyes to distract him.
Do you think he bunts it now?
He could. He looked back over his shoulder after Alford stole second. Squaring early. Looked like Suzuki got crossed up. First time at the Blue Jays. Well, no, they had Fisher had that double in the third. The only base runner they had a second until Alford comes up with the steal.
There's Daniel Hudson, familiar face, former Blue Jay, and the guy who got the last out of the World Series last year for the Washington Nationals, ready if needed in the bullpen, and likewise for Anthony Bass on the Blue Jays side. And the Blue Jays grab the lead here in the bottom of the 8th. Bunted foul, 2-2.
You know, bunting is such a lost art. And now with 2 strikes against Scherzer, I don't think you can have him bunt again because Scherzer can throw so many pitches for strikes. But if you move up toward the front end of the batter's box, you put yourself in a better position to keep the ball fair. You just move up in front of the box, and then you're more in fair territory when you make contact with that baseball.
Well, can he just put a ball in play to the right side and move over Alford that way? Runner in scoring position with nobody out. Great opportunity here for the Blue Jays. Wow. They kept it on, or he did it on his own. We don't know, but he's called out on a strikeout after bunting it foul.
Yeah, we're not sure if he got a sign or did it on his own, but he was focused on trying to move that runner from second to third. Well, he pops out. It'll be a strikeout for Scherzer. Another 10 strikeout game.
So here's Derek Fisher, who has doubled and struck out. Short bench for the Blue Jays tonight with Bichette and Grichuk, we believe, still unavailable. Alford has come into pinch run for Panic. Drury will come in and play third, and that just leaves Reese McGuire, the backup catcher, tonight. Play on at second, and the throw sails into center. Alford is up and on his way to third.
Boy, Anthony did a terrific job getting a big lead because Keyboom, the third baseman, was way off the bag at third with Fisher, the left-handed hitter, at the plate. Anthony bounces off, and he's out there in no man's land, and Scherzer throws it into center field. That's the 8th error that the Nationals have committed this season. This is just the 6th game. Look out, Hunter Wendelstedt. The umpire almost got drilled with that one.
So now the infield is forced to come in for the Nationals. 3 of them on the right side. Can Fisher get a ball in the air and get Alford home? Oh, 0-1.
Yeah, here's where you really got to shorten up and just think, lift the ball into the outfield. Alford runs so well, it's not going to take a very deep fly ball to score him from third should it be a sac fly. Put it in play.
Oh, and 2.
Changeup.
A cutter and a change to jump out ahead. 0-2. Best chance of the night for the Blue Jays. Up and in with a fastball. This is, you just can't guess with him. He could give you a cutter in, a changeup away, a backdoor slider. There's no way to guess with him.
Oh, you can guess with him, but you're going to be wrong.
Oh, yeah. One ball, 2 strikes. Alford at third.
You know what? In this situation, even if he hits it on the ground, I might send the runner. Alford at third base has great speed. Just put the pressure on defense. Remember, Blue Jays are home team. So here you are in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out. You just never know how they're going to handle a ground ball. I think you send them. Any kind of contact. Put it on the ground, put it in the air deep enough. Get him home.
Scherzer at 110 pitches.
See the right side of the infield there, a couple of steps on the grass.
Full count.
Another reason I would start the runner, because the next batter is Teoscar Hernandez, a right-handed hitter against Scherzer. If you can get Fisher to make contact here, I'd roll the dice.
The 3-2. And he'll take a walk.
Good job by Fisher laying off that changeup. Anxious to drive in the first run of the game. He didn't chase that changeup, and that's going to be it. 112 pitches in the second start of the season for Max Scherzer. And the game is scoreless with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th.
Great job by Scherzer, but he hands the ball over to Davey Martinez. Daniel Hudson in this scoreless game. By TD, proud fan and official bank of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Top of the 7th with 1 out and 2 on. Andrew Stevenson hits a line drive to left field. Gurriel retreats quickly and makes a nice over-the-shoulder catch to take extra bases away from Stevenson and keep it scoreless for Sam Gaviglio. Nice job by Gurriel in the outfit. That was going to be 1 for sure, maybe 2 runs, and he kept it scoreless with a terrific defensive play.
Daniel Hudson, a Blue Jay for 4 months last year before being dealt at the deadline to the Nationals. Finished up well in the last 2 months for Washington and eventually became their closer in the postseason. And although it wasn't a safe situation, he got the last out of the World Series in Game 7 and celebrated the native of Lynchburg, Virginia. Remember, we were covering the playoffs. He and his wife celebrated the arrival of a baby, I think, during the National League Championship Series.
And he missed the game. He went home for the birth of that child.
But came back and pitched great.
Yep.
First and third, 1 out. And speed on at third and at first for the Blue Jays. Teoscar Hernandez is the batter, and he takes a fastball down the middle for a strike. Do you send Fisher here? Do they even bother throwing through if you send him?
Yeah, I doubt if they would throw through with Alford at third base in this scoreless game. You stay first base, you stay aggressive and start the runner. Ash has got to be thinking right field, center field. out over the plate. Ooh, a late call by the umpire. Stu Shearwater, the umpire behind home plate, a little bit of a hesitation on that call, and Teoscar's in the hole.
Now you really got to think, just put a ball in play, get a ball in the air to the opposite field, whatever you got to do. Just get Alfred home any way you can. Fisher is still at first. A 2-strike count on Hernandez. Up and away. Well, that's the guy you want 90 feet away right now. Fisher still over at first. Just one out in the inning. One, two. Upstairs again. I'm surprised Fisher hasn't gone.
Yeah, a little bit, but I guess they just sense that you want to give Teoscar a opportunity to focus here, and hopefully he can put a ball in play. He had a sac fly against the Rays in Tampa Bay. Got to make contact.
2-2. He does. Hard hit ball to short, to second one, and on to first. They get the double play. A rocket off the bat of Hernandez, but it's still 0-0. Again, a home game for the Blue Jays, 3:30 Eastern Time. Blue Jays Central, 4:05 first pitch. From Washington, D.C., Hyun-Jin Ryu will be on the mound for the Blue Jays tomorrow afternoon. Will it be the Blue Jays looking for their 4th win in a row? Nothing across yet in this one. 0-0 going to the top of the 9th inning. Blue Jays just had a great opportunity, but could not push across a run. And as we go to the top of the 9th inning, the new pitcher for the Blue Jays is Anthony Bass.
Anthony Bass has elevated his profile in this bullpen. He closed out the game. Picked up the save on Monday night here. Had a good inning of work. Gave up a hit. Had a strikeout through 17 pitches. Picking up his first save of the season. This will be his 4th appearance of the year. This Blue Jays bullpen has pitched well lately. Another good night for the bullpen tonight.
Brandon Drury is in the game at third base after Joe Panik was lifted for the pinch runner and Anthony Alford. Blue Jays go into the shift with Eric Thames leading off top of the 9th. First pitch swinging, hooks a ball foul down the right field line. He's up there to do damage, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. That's what he is thinking about, no question. Bass worked to 8-9-1-2 on Friday night. He did not face Eric Thames.
Took a little off and finds the strike zone again. 0-2.
Bass made a terrific defensive play to end that ball game. A little chopper off the bat of Adam Eaton with a man on and 2 outs. Eaton chopped it up the third base line. He went over, grabbed it, and fired to first to end the ball game. He saved himself.
It's been a really good ball game. Great pitching on both sides. Very few opportunities. Each team with just 3 hits. Look at that swing. Biggio flipped to first. They get him by a step.
Now, the Blue Jays have some quality arms in the back end of their bullpen. They've got guys that can come in and get strikeouts. Romano struck out Victor Robles to end the 7th and came back out and got 2 more strikeouts in a 1-2-3-8. I think that's one thing we're going to see more frequently is 4 and 5 out outings for the guys that are leveraged pitchers down in that pen.
Yep. With a shortened season, you wonder if managers around baseball maybe push their key guys a little bit harder here and there. You know, if you've got a good record after 15 or 20 games in a normal season, you're like, okay, well, it's 15 or 20 games. That's a significant chunk of the season this year.
Yeah, it sure is. And you know what? I think you just have to play each game, see where we're at, 15, 20 games, and then say, okay, we're going to change our philosophy a little bit. Basically, it's kind of like playoff baseball.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have talked about it being a 60-game tournament. I think everybody is playing like, okay, we need to win this game. We need to win the series and then move on.
And I think expanding the playoff system just opened it up that much more for teams who may not have felt they had a great shot before and now think they do. A lot of swings and misses on that slider from Bass. Just missed outside with a fastball.
Yeah, you can see body language of Bass suggesting he thought it was a strike. Good fastball with late movement. Just stayed off the plate away.
Pulled down to third. A play for Drury. Plenty of time to look it over and throw him out, 2 down.
Second baseman, Starlin Castro.
Two down for Starlin Castro, 0 for 2 with a walk. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, the Blue Jays will send up Kevin Biggio, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Well, Bass is really dotting that outside corner with the fastball and the slider.
Boy, that fastball really moves.
Yeah, in this situation, top of the 9th inning, scoreless game, you want to keep the hitters in the big part of the field. So you don't want to get tricky and try to sneak something by them on the inside part of the plate. Stay away.
Tried to bring it back over the outside corner, couldn't quite do it. Another close game here in the early going for the Blue Jays. 1-2. Bouncing ball. Espinal in time. 3 up, 3 down go the Nationals. Biggio, Gurriel, and Guerrero coming up for the Blue Jays. The home opener for the Blue Jays. We go to the bottom of the 9th in a scoreless game. Best chance maybe for either team was bottom of the 8th for the Blue Jays. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Couldn't get a run home. But now they've got Biggio, Gurriel, and Guerrero coming up against Daniel Hudson. Biggio 0 for 2 with a walk tonight.
Interesting, Trey Turner moving back over to the shortstop side of second as Biggio got set in the box, and check swing foul straight back. No one left in this game has ever faced Daniel Hudson, the only Blue Jays that have had previous at bats against Hudson. Grichuk, Panic already out of game, and Travis Shaw, who's not here.
Interesting how differently the Nationals play Biggio than the Rays did, especially with nobody on base. Rays had 4 outfielders and a huge shift on the infield. The Nationals have the much more traditional, of course, 3 outfielders And only now have they gone into a shift. They've just now moved the third baseman Keyboom over to the other side now that it's gone to a 2-strike count, and they're not worried about Biggio bunting anymore. Good pitch.
Well, Lourdes Gurriel with the bat hadn't done much like most of the hitters tonight, but boy, with the glove, he did a lot. StatCast AI, powered by Google Cloud. He had to run down that ball off the bat of Stevenson, 99.2 miles an hour, and so far that's the play of the game. He ran a long way. There was 2 runners aboard, one at first, one at second. That would have scored a run at least, maybe 2. But he saved Sam Gaviglio a couple of runs.
Here's Gurriel 0 for 3. If the Blue Jays don't score here, extra innings, and that means a runner at second to start every half inning. Jays were in one of those down in Florida against the Rays. Boy, another guy who has just maintained his velocity late into his career. Granted, Hudson's a reliever, not a starter, but we saw this in his time with the Blue Jays, just consistently 95, 96 miles an hour with a fastball.
And he's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. Very, very professional pitcher. Takes great care of himself, takes a lot of pride in what he does. Remember that day in Kansas City when he got traded, walking out of the bullpen mid-game. Yamaguchi is loosening up for the Blue Jays.
Guerrero on deck. Gurriel at the plate. No score in the bottom of the 9th. Fastball there. 2-2.
Daniel Hudson began his career as a starter in the White Sox system, came to the big leagues for the first time with the White Sox in 2009. Actually made 33 starts for Arizona in 2011.
He's making some pitches tonight. Gurriel trying to battle, still 2-2.
Gurriel hit his first home run of the season Tuesday night. One of 2 home runs the Blue Jays hit that night. Last night they hit a couple, Gurriel and Guerrero.
Pulled that one, 3-2.
Daniel Hudson signed a 2-year contract after the World Series last year.
Three-two pitch on the way, and he got him. 97 on that fastball. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central, here are Ken and Jesse.
Thanks, Dan. We have full post-game reaction coming up following Nate Pearson's stellar debut.
And the Astros and Dodgers, they're at it again. And guys, can I just say how nice it is to have 2 pros working out of the Tim and Sid studios for once?
All right, thanks, guys, and let's see how long it is until we come to you. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. may have a say in that. Vladdy 0 for 3 on the night. Each team with just 3 hits in this game. Scherzer was great into the 8th. Nate Pearson was great through 5 in his debut. Two balls, no strikes.
Yeah, Hudson making just his 2nd appearance of the season. Remember, the Nationals are 1-4, so they haven't had that many games with the lead late in the game, and that's generally when Hudson's going to pitch. Turn it loose, Vladdy.
Ooh, took a strike right above the knees, 2-1.
Hudson worked Sunday in that game against the Yankees, threw just 12 pitches in his only inning of work.
Fights it off. Out of play, 2-2. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s got a chance to do something exceedingly rare right now, and that's hit a walk-off home run in another team's ball.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen often.
Let me think about that for a while.
The 2-2.
Well, when you think about it, he had a walk-off home run in Olympic Stadium.
That's true.
Spring training game, albeit.
The most famous spring training home run ever hit.
That was against Jack Flaherty, the Cardinals,
that's
who
right.
was turned into one of the premier pitchers in the National League.
That was a great scene that day.
Yeah.
He's fouled off a couple. The count remains 2-2. And the pitch. Breaking ball to get him. Hudson strikes out the side. And extra innings are on the way. Innings in Washington. No score between the Nationals and Blue Jays. Washington coming up top of the 10th inning. And the pitcher for the Blue Jays is Shun Yamaguchi.
Yamaguchi, you see, pitching last year as a starter in Japan. A terrific season. Led the league in strikeouts with 188 strikeouts. So far this year, he's pitching out of the bullpen, and he had a bit of a rough outing in his debut. So he is on here. He picked up the loss on a blown save on Sunday at Tropicana Field. Gave up that base hit to Kevin Kiermaier, drove in 2, and the Blue Jays lost a tough one.
Everybody else in the Blue Jay bullpen either pitched last night or pitched multiple innings recently. Yamaguchi more rested. And he inherits another key spot. So remember, a runner starts at second base, and Emilio Bonifacio is going to come in and be a pinch runner here to begin the top of the 10th inning. It's the last batter from the last inning who's supposed to run, so it would have been Starlin Castro, but Bonifacio is going to run for him. Nationals have a much deeper bench right now than the Blue Jays do. The Blue Jays already used Alford and Drury, plus Bichette and Grichuk are unavailable.
And here's the rookie, Carter Kieboom. He had a base hit his last time up. Ripped a single into center. That was in the 7th inning. So most teams, the Blue Jays are guarding against the bunt, but most teams, as the visiting team, choose not to bunt in these situations. And that appears to be the case with the Nationals here.
Bottom of the order, Kieboom, Stevenson, and Robles. Bonifacio runs well. Blue Jays 0-1 in extra innings on the young season. The idea of the runner at second, for those who still may not be aware, is to end games quicker. For obvious reasons, baseball does not want players hanging around for hours and hours around each other in a dugout in a clubhouse for safety reasons. Plus, in such an uncertain season, you don't want pitching staffs to get depleted. And it's been proven, and it goes without saying, that you start with a runner at second base and games tend to end quicker. 4 of the 5 extra inning games on the young season have ended in the 10th after 10 innings. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Great job by the bullpen here tonight for the Blue Jays. Solis, Gavillo, Jordan Romano, and Anthony Bass kept it a scoreless game. It's been Scherzer and Hudson all the way for the Nationals.
A look back at Bonifacio. And the splitter down low, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Yamaguchi asked about his splitter after his appearance on Sunday. He said, my splitter's okay. And he said, I'm just going to throw it to catch calls. They know these hitters a little bit more than I do right now, but it's fastball, slider, splitter. That's his mix. And obviously, he led the leading strikeouts in Japan last year.
The 2-2.
Got a fastball in a good spot right there. Pete Walker just really learning about Yamaguchi. Same for Dolis. Getting a feel for what they can do and when they're most effective. And Yamaguchi's had to pitch in both of these extra inning games. That was his first appearance of the season on Sunday at Tampa Bay.
Again, the 2-2. Way down and away with a sweeping slider, and that runs the count full. Tanner Rainey will work the bottom of the 10th inning. Three-two.
91, a little better fastball there.
Came into camp, it felt like, with an outside chance of competing for a spot in the rotation, but because he had had previous experience as a reliever, it always felt like he would be a piggyback guy or a multi-inning guy, maybe with a chance to move into the rotation if the need developed, but at times was a little bit underwhelming in the spring and at summer camp, and is now kind of battling for a role on this staff.
Yeah, he began his career as a reliever. Actually had some big save seasons. 2010 he had 30 saves, 11 he had 34 saves, and in 12 he had 22. Then he became a starter a little bit later in his career. Made 17 starts in 2014.
Another 3-2 to Kieboom. Outside, ball 4.
Pete Walker out with the interpreter to go over the situation here, and I don't know, English, Japanese, whatever. This is a jam. First and second, nobody out in the 10th. So Walker's talking to the catcher right here about the possibility of maybe a bunt, or what you're going to do with the left-handed hitting Stevenson at the plate. Now Yamaguchi nods in agreement. Okay, I got you.
First 2 appearances in the big leagues come in extra innings with a runner at second base. Stu Sherwater's given them a lot of time to get the message across out here, with allowing everybody to make sure they understand what Pete Walker wants, what Charlie Montoyo wants. Left-handed batter in Stevenson, with runners at first and second and nobody out.
Stevenson in this same situation with 1 out in the 7th inning, first and second, showed bunt in 2 of the pitches early in the bat, and then he hit that line drive that Gurriel ran down in left field. Made that terrific play in the 7th inning. The Blue Jays are guarding against the bunt at the corners.
Yeah, Drury in tight at third. The shortstop Espinal trying to keep the runner close at second. Guerrero way in on the grass at first. Again, Vladdy's in one of these situations where, who knows, he may be asked to make the plays never made before.
Yeah. Charge hard. If he bunts it to you, go to third.
Yamaguchi will take that. 1-1.
Uncharted territory for managers now in the big leagues, obviously. Everybody is trying to get the percentages of what's a visiting team do. Do you bunt on the road? Do you not bunt when you're home team? All kinds of different options, of course. Most managers feel like when you're on the road, you don't bunt.
The 1-1. He shows bunt here. Throw down to second. And Espinal just trying to make sure that ball didn't get into center field.
Espinal is such a heads-up player. Once he saw the ball was going to be in the dirt, watch the second base, or watch the throw here. He's going to come in front of the bag to make sure it doesn't go into center field. That's just a heck of a play. Jansen's throw was a short hop to second base, and Espinal didn't even worry about the base runner. Once he saw it was going to hit the dirt, all he wanted to do was make sure it didn't go into center.
Two and one. 2 on with nobody out.
Oh.
Slider down low. 3 balls and a strike. Long look down, but I wouldn't think the way Yamaguchi's throwing and with a 3-1 count, I don't think you're dropping a bunt down here.
No, not right here. Kevin Long in the pullover is the hitting coach. Maybe Martinez is a little bit down in the stairwell there.
Now to play in a full count.
Yeah, you got to give him a chance to hit here.
The interesting thing, you talked about it, not only has he been very successful, he led his league in strikeouts last year. And of course, we never saw him until this year. But he's having trouble getting any swings and misses so far in the big leagues. Now would be a great time for one. Just missed, down and in, and the bases are loaded.
Back-to-back walks after the runner was placed at second to start the inning. Jansen was set up outside. That ball misses all the way across the plate inside. Bobby Henley, the first base coach, giving the base runner at first instructions. 10th inning.
And the bases are loaded with nobody out for Victor Robles. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Infield in for the Blue Jays. They're going to try to come home on a ground ball.
Pull that slider just outside of third, foul.
And you can see Drury, Espinal looking into the dugout, making sure they get their instructions, that they know where they're supposed to play and what the dugout wants them to do. Biggio, as you can see, just moving over to the pull side of the field.
That's a pretty good splitter right there. Had some movement on it. Perfect play right here would be a ground ball to the third base bag. Drury steps on the bag, comes home, gets you a quick double play, and ideally, maybe even if it's hit hard enough, step on the bag, go home to first.
Wow.
I'm really wishing.
You're thinking
now.
big
Yeah.
right now. The 0-2. Yamaguchi has walked the first 2 batters he's faced. Nobody is up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Again, other options that you may be thinking of obviously are unavailable tonight due to recent workload. Swing and a miss, and he got him for the first out.
Pretty good movement on that splitter there. It started out over the middle of the plate, and you can see how it breaks down and in. Oh, that's a good sign. Yamaguchi gets a big strikeout, first out of the inning. But now you deal with the top of the order.
Yeah, here's Trey Turner. And the infield's going to stay in. I mean, this guy's just too fast for you to assume you're halfway and you can turn a double play. You can't assume that. So they're staying in and they're coming home on a ground ball. Up at the top of the zone with a slider, 0-1. Nationals hitters seeing some guys they've never seen before. Nate Pearson in his major league debut. Rafael Dolis, who had been in Japan the last 4 years. Now Shun Yamaguchi.
Turner is such a good hitter. He hit nearly 300 last year, and there's no real way to defend him. He spreads the ball all over the diamond. Blue Jays defense reflects that fact. Bonifacio entered the game as the ghost runner. He started the 10th inning. He's a pinch runner for Starlin Castro.
The 1-1 down and away. He was able to get ahead of Robles and eventually struck him out. He fell behind Kieboom and Stevenson early, walked both of them. And he's in a tough spot right now. Very good hitter at the plate. Nationals looking to take the lead here in the top of the 10th. Two and two, using the slider again.
That was a good slider. A little more side break on it. Changed his arm angle a little bit. Turner is a veteran hitter with 2 strikes. He's going to be very patient, not anxious. A lot of these veteran hitters look more breaking ball with 2 strikes than they do fastball.
Huge pitch coming here for Yamaguchi. Just missed inside and a full count, and a walk forces in a run.
Yeah, that pitch was interesting. There's a lot of movement on that pitch. Watch this pitch as it's just off the plate inside. Jansen does a nice job of catching that ball, but that was one of the better splits we've seen from Yamaguchi. But now 3-2 count, 1 out.
I think the Nationals were maybe having a look at that to see if it might have hit Turner. Everybody was looking over to the first base dugout for a moment, but they play on with a full count. Got him. Got a fastball by him at 93 for out number 2.
That's the best fastball we've seen from Yamaguchi. And we mentioned with 2 strikes, a lot of these big league hitters or veteran hitters looking for a breaking ball with 2 strikes, and that fastball just beats him. It's by him. Back-to-back strikeouts after back-to-back walks.
I think you're right, though. Seeing what they had seen from Yamaguchi, I think you're thinking more splitter and slider than you are fastball. Here's Adam Eaton. Boy, what a job this would be by Yamaguchi if he can get out of it. We talked about how pesky this guy is, though. Infield, of course, can back up now with 2 outs. Up the middle off Yamaguchi. Biggio has it and safe at second. The call is safe at second and a run has scored.
Hunter Wendelstedt is the second base umpire, and the Blue Jays are going to have a look at it for sure. Bang, bang, it hit off Yamaguchi. Biggio comes in to get it and then dives toward the base at second. And Blue Jays got to take a look at this.
Yep.
Biggio slides with his glove, and boy, it looked like Stevenson's foot hit the base before Biggio could get his glove on second base. Boy, I tell you what, that's about as close as it gets. Stevenson did a good job of extending his legs straight to try to beat Biggio to the bag. Joe West on the left, the crew chief. Hunter Wendelstedt on the right. He's the umpire that made the call at second base.
Tough to see definitively from this angle.
But watch the dirt fly up on the base. I don't know if that was dirt that was pushed before he got to the base or not.
You know, the interesting thing, too, is Biggio shows the ball to the umpire, which is what you've grown up doing, except, you know, things are different now with replay. Had he stayed and kept looking at Stevenson, I think Stevenson actually came off the bag in the aftermath, and Cabot might have been able to get a tag down on him. But again, your muscle memory is set. You're just used to showing the ball to the umpire. Call on the field is safe, and I don't know that we've seen anything
either way.
Yeah, definitive to over. It's got to be definitive to overturn it. And I think the play Biggio made is probably the only play he had. I don't know if he would have had a play at first on Eaton.
No.
I think his best play was get the ball and dive to the bag.
Yeah, Eaton, left-handed batter, comes out of the batter's box. You see the runner crossing home plate? I think even if he keeps his glove on the base runner, he gets to second and then comes off the base, the run would have scored anyway.
And he is safe.
Yeah.
So the Nationals take a 1-0 lead.
Now the Blue Jays aren't really finished here, even though the umpires have made the call. Somebody in the Blue Jays made a point of getting Joe West's attention, and now Charlie Montoyo is out to talk to Stu Shearwater. Not sure what that's all about, of course.
So it goes an RBI single for Adam Eaton, and the Nationals take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the 10th. And now Washington looking for more. Bases loaded still. 2 down still, and Asdrubal Cabrera is the batter. Oh for 4 night for Cabrera. Outside for ball 1. When the game moves to the bottom of the 10th inning, the runner for the Blue Jays will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He was the last batter in the bottom of the 9th. So it'll be Vladdy at second with nobody out when the Jays come up, down at the moment by 1. And they don't really have anybody on the bench to pinch run for him. Because of the injuries, the bench is thin. The only guy left is Reese McGuire.
Anthony Alford entered the game as a pinch runner in the 8th.
Thomas Hatch is just starting to soft toss in the bullpen, and you get the feeling they didn't want to use him, or in all likelihood he probably would have been in the game for the 10th instead of Yamaguchi. Hatch, of course, coming off that effort in his major league debut on Sunday, so you get the feeling they wanted to give him another day. Had today been tomorrow, I think Hatch probably is in the game in this situation. And I think these sorts of issues are going to sort themselves out with Pearson coming on and giving them, as we mentioned earlier, another bona fide starter, and leaving fewer of these innings in middle relief where they're not sure who they can go to.
Well, and tonight the Nationals got the kind of start you want. Max Scherzer pitches into the 8th inning. got one out, and then Hudson comes out, gets a double play, and strikes out the side in the ninth. And you can see Bushman telling Hatch to sit down. Looks like they're going to switch, and Anthony Kay is going to get up. The lefty, he'll start throwing as Hatch sits down in that bullpen.
Kay followed Hatch in that game on Sunday. Hatch threw 47 pitches, Kay threw 43. Three and one. And that's off Guerrero down the right field line. It'll score at least 2. And it'll clear the bases. It'll be a 3-run double for Cabrera to blow it open for the Nationals.
Just inside the bag at first. It goes all the way down into the right field corner, and a tough situation for Yamaguchi. He comes in and walks the first 2 batters to start the inning, and Cabrera clears the bases. His 3rd, 4th, and 5th RBI of the season, and that's just a fastball out over the outer half of the plate, and he hits it past Vladdy, goes into right field, and Fisher has a long run to dig it out.
And Cabrera all the way around to third on the play, give him a triple. And Washington has scored 4 runs here in the top of the 10th. There's Eric Thames. It's the 32nd pitch thrown by Yamaguchi. Kay continues to throw. A couple of walks, a very close play at second, where the runner was just safe, and then eventually Cabrera really making him pay. And as encouraging as so many aspects of the Blue Jays play have been early, a loss tonight, and they're 3-3, and you can't help but think could be 5-1.
Yeah, for sure. They have been in every game tonight. They were matched up against Scherzer, and they took him into the 10th inning in a scoreless game.
To left field. Backpedaling Gurriel will make the catch, and finally the side is retired. But 4 for the Nationals. Blue Jays coming up. Although it looks like the game is going to wind up in a loss for the Blue Jays, that shouldn't take away from what Nate Pearson did tonight in his major league debut.
Strikes out the first big league batter he faced in Trey Turner, and used all of his pitches very effectively. Fastball up to 99 miles an hour. He threw a lot of real good sliders, mixed in the changeup and curveball later on in his outing. A terrific first start for Nate Pearson. He matched Max Scherzer pitch for pitch, 5 innings, 2 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 5, and actually got better as the game got deeper. Threw 75 pitches in his major league debut.
Washington with 4 in the top half of the 10th inning, and here's Tanner Rainey on to try to get the last 3 outs and deliver a win for the Nats. So the Blue Jays, needless to say, have their work cut out for them after that bases clearing triple by Asdrubal Cabrera. It was one thing if they had just gotten the 1 run after that close play at second base, but that extra hit by Cabrera makes it a much different situation.
Well, and when you really think about it, if that ball doesn't hit Yamaguchi, probably goes right to Biggio at second. He steps on the bag, starts a double play, but that's not the case.
Rowdy Tellez will lead it off. So Guerrero's out at second. Tellez, Jansen, and Drury will be the batters.
Rainey pitched the 6th inning In last night's game, he actually pitched to 4 batters and retired all 4 batters, including Rowdy Tellez, who grounded out to end the 6th inning. And he only threw 13 pitches, retiring all 4. Daniel Hudson's the pitcher of record for the Nationals. He got 5 outs. Inning and 2/3, struck out the side in the 9th. Biggio, Gurriel, and Guerrero.
Looks like it'll get out of play down the left field line. Whoa, it stayed in play. Great effort, but no catch there by Kieboom, and it's 2-2 on Rowdy Tellez.
Yeah, he had a chance to make a play on that ball and got over there and never gave up on it. I don't know if it hit the netting before he got there, but he said, yeah, I was close.
And he look where he's coming from, too.
He was playing in the shift. He got a long run, and he gets down up against that wall. And it looked like he had a chance to make the play there. It didn't hit the netting. It was still in play. I don't know that Rowdy expected that ball to stay over the field of play.
Hyun-Jin Ryu and Eric Fetty tomorrow, 3:30 Blue Jays Central, 4:05 first pitch here on Sportsnet. Check to swing and a full count.
Rainey's got a good arm. He was acquired by the Nationals in the trade to send Tanner Rourke to Cincinnati. As we mentioned, he retired all 4 batters he faced last night, pitched into the 7th inning. Brandon Drury was the last man he faced, and then Sean Doolittle took over.
Three-two. Yankees are having their way with the Orioles in Baltimore right now, leading 7-1. Garrett Cole is cruising. LeMahieu, Hicks, and Judge have each hit their first home runs of the season. And at the knees for strike 3 called, much to the dismay of Rowdy Tellez. Looked like a good pitch.
He might have thrown Tellez out of the game. The way Rowdy reacted as he was headed back to dugout, he turned around, had some more words for the home plate umpire, but he may have thrown him out of the game.
Remember, that's Stu Sherwater behind the plate.
They've seen him a lot.
Yeah.
He was at summer camp.
Yeah, the Regina native. He came into Toronto and called a bunch of the intra-squad games, 4 or 5 games in Toronto, and then he was part of the crew in the series down in Tampa Bay as well. Everybody was very friendly in Toronto, but now that the games count for real, tempers are a little bit short.
Yeah, he's not done talking to the Blue Jays dugout.
I don't think he's talking to Charlie. Maybe Guillermo got kicked out of the game. John Schneider's not sure who he's talking to. Joe West is coming over.
Joe West has come over from first base, and I don't know what the issue is, but I believe Rowdy Tellez has been thrown out of the game. Maybe somebody else. Guillermo Martinez, the hitting coach, is down in that well next to Dave Hudgens.
We think 2 people got thrown out, but everybody's trying to figure out exactly who it is. Guessing Rowdy was one of them.
Yeah, Rowdy had the reaction after he was headed back to the dugout as if the home plate umpire threw him out.
Well, it's a long conversation. I mean,
well, of course, everybody can hear everything said from either dugout. And now it looks like Stu Shearwater's explaining to Charlie Montoya who he threw out of the game. I don't know who's leaving. Doesn't look like anybody's leaving.
No, Schneider's still there. Guillermo Martinez is still there. I'm sure Ronnie Tellez was one of them, but if there was somebody else, we're not sure who it is. Either way, it's the first down in the bottom of the 10th. And you can see the frustration for the Blue Jays getting into another extra inning game, a game they felt had a great chance to win, played well through 9 innings. And now to have an extreme uphill climb if they're going to have any chance of winning this game. Here's Danny Jansen. Even if it ends poorly, got to turn the page and go get him tomorrow. It's got Ryu on the mound. Trying to turn the momentum back around. They have played good baseball for 6 games.
And eventually they're going to get their bullpen sorted out. We mentioned the fact that Hatch and Kay and Barucki are going to be important parts of their bullpen, especially now since Nate Pearson is in the starting rotation. Wilmer Font has pitched well in his only appearance. He did a good job for them last year, but there's going to be some juggling of the roles in that bullpen, especially with Giles out with the elbow issue.
But you're right, guys like Hatch and Kay will get important roles out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and I think Barucki as well. Barucki could be a guy that would come in the 6th and give you a couple of innings for sure. And Barucki's throwing hard. Got up to 95 in his first outing.
And it all starts with, can you get a consistent number of innings out of your starter?
Absolutely.
With Ryu, Shoemaker, Pearson, Thornton, Roar.
It begins and ends with your starting pitcher. That sets up everything. I mean, the Nationals won a World Series on the strength of their starting pitching last year. Those 3 horses at the front end, and then Anibal Sanchez, who didn't get the attention he deserved. Another terrific starter.
Brandon Drury quickly in the hole, 0-2.
I mentioned Drury faced Rainey last night. Flied out to center field.
One, 2. And Drury lays off, down and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The last 5 Blue Jays have struck out. 14 strikeouts in the game. They came into this game with 42 strikeouts in the first 5 games, so that's something they're going to have to improve upon. Cut down on the strikeouts. Toronto coming into the game tonight was 5th in the American League in the most strikeouts.
Yes, he did. Ball gets away. Drury will be safe at first as the throw is wide. Thames couldn't keep his foot on the bag. Guerrero comes to third, and the game isn't over yet.
Drury waved at that breaking ball, went all the way back to the backstop, and Suzuki has to hustle back. Drury takes off. Thames to the outside of the base, and you can see Joe West recognizing that Thames lost contact with the first base bag, and Drury is safe on the wild pitch. Could see Joe West looking down at that foot of the first baseman and just lost contact. Now they're going to have a look at it. That's 6 straight strikeouts by the Nationals pitchers.
Well, I'll tell you, Buck, it was a scintillating 9, but
and I lost a little luster here in extra innings, Dan. Scherzer and Pearson were terrific. And here's the play once again. Thames trying to maintain contact with that bag, but it came off. Joe West waves Drury safe. And you can see Thames felt like he had to reach back and re-tag the base on that replay. So this will be an interesting review. He lost contact and then tries to get back, but Drury beats him to the base.
by the way, I'm told that it was Rowdy Tellez and Dante Bichette who were ejected from the game. As they continue to have a look at the play at first base.
Hard to tell there. Yeah. Joe West had a pretty good look at it. He's just outside the foul line. He's got his eye on the baseball, but then he turns his eyes to look at the base and the foot of Eric Thames. And he will uphold his own call.
Yeah. So 2 men on with 2 outs for the Blue Jays. Can Santiago Espinal find a way to get on and get the tying run to the plate? Espinal 0 for 3, struck out all 3 times tonight, once trying to get a bunt down with 2 strikes. Rainey theoretically could strike out 4 in the inning here. It's credit, of course, for a strikeout on Drury, who reaches on a wild pitch. That's kind of a test, especially for a lot of young players. Do you keep looking for the things they're doing well, or do you walk out discouraged after a game like this, assuming they go on to lose?
Yeah, it's really a tough one because they got such a good effort, a couple good defensive plays in the field, but again, the 16 strikeouts. And got to tip your cap to Max Scherzer. He was certainly on his game.
Drury went into second on defensive indifference there, and 3-1 on Espinal. Derek Fisher's in the on-deck circle. If Espinal can get aboard, he would represent the tying run.
16 strikeouts for the Blue Jays tonight. Last time they had 16 strikeouts, April 7th last year at Cleveland. Javi Guerra, just in case.
Three-two pitch. Jammed him, and a pop-up, shallow right center field. On comes Robles, and the Nationals will win it. So the major league debut of Nate Pearson, as impressive as he was, ends in a defeat as it really gets away from the Blue Jays in the top of the 10th. Another kind of coulda, shoulda, woulda sort of night, but the Nationals win it, and the Blue Jays and Nationals will finish up their games with one another tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, a real tough game for the Blue Jays to lose another extra inning game, and they got deep into their bullpen, and Yamaguchi walked the first 2 batters he faced and then got a couple of strikeouts, but Adam Eaton had an infield hit that scored the first run, and then Asdrubal Cabrera, the big blow of the night, that 3-run triple in a 4-run 10th inning.
Well, we will be back with you tomorrow afternoon. Hyun-Jin Ryu on the mound for the Blue Jays, but right now it's time for Sportsnet Central as we send you to Ken and Jesse.